Hi my legends, welcome back. Today we're doing something very different. We are going to be discussing and recapping season 1 of Victorious. This is something I've wanted to do for ages. Big Mike's fan. If you could not tell by the setup, yes, it's the same format. We even have the same kind of cards. But I've never claimed to have an original thought, and this is further proof I don't have any original thoughts. But that being said, we are going to be recapping season 1 of Victorious. I am so excited. Let's jump into this because this is going to be a long one. I promise you that. This is a 50-page script. So, we have our main characters. You can see them all here. We've got Tori, Andre, Jade, Beck, Kat, Robbie, Trina. And then, up here we have our side characters. We've got Psychowitz, Sinjin, Rex, Lane, Grandma Harris, David Vega, and Holly Vega. One thing I want to say, I have classified Rex and Robbie to be almost the same. Like, to me, they are the same. So, yes, Rex is up there, but Rex is also down here in spirit with Robbie, okay? Okay. I just wanted to make a note before we start this that I'm talking about the episodes in production order and not in, like, their Netflix order or Amazon order. So, if you want to follow along on a streaming service, it's Paramount+. They have it all in the production order. Season 1, Episode 1, The Pilot. We open up on mouldy bread. It's a great start. The audience cheers for the one, the only, Tori Vega, Victoria Justice. I find it kind of funny that we already get the woo, you know what I'm talking about. We get the woo. And at this point, yeah, she's not like a Nickelodeon veteran. I mean, a girlie was on Zoe 101, but still, she wasn't like that big at the time. Like, this wasn't her peak. But still, Miss Tori Vega, her first appearance. Like, for most kids, this was probably the first time they had heard of her. And one thing you know I'm going to do? I'm going to link this back to R5. Who was beside her in the opening scene? Any guesses? Any guesses? It was none other than Ellington Ratliff himself. If you don't know who R5 is, that's a band with Ross Lynch and his siblings. Iconic band, I have their merch, I talk about them a lot. And Ellington Ratliff was the drummer in R5, and he was in the first episode, in the pilot episode, looking at the mouldy bread, inspecting it with none other than Victoria Justice, Tori Vega. Then we finally meet Trina. That's not Trina. Trina. So Miss Trina Vega over here comes into the house exclaiming that she is upset. And this is now the first sin of this episode and of the season. Just like Mike's Mike, we have the sins. I'm going to call them the bops and flops. This is the first bop of the episode, of the season, and it's that Trina is disrespectful and calls Andre Andrew. Andrew. He's not Andrew, he's Andre. Anywho, that is a sin. We will be marking it on her side. Andrew Harris. There we go. Round of applause, everyone. The first sin, the first flop, has been added to the wall. Thank you, thank you. I will say, though, the smart thing about having her call Andre Andrew at this instance is we don't know he's called Andre yet, but once we find out, it is context clues as to who she is as a person and the way she operates with others. We also see that Trina has little regard for Tori's wants and needs, and she puts herself first. Not Tori, her younger sister. She puts herself first. I mean, honestly, kind of girl slay, but we get a lot of information about Trina in this opening sequence, and we also see that she cannot sing to save her life. It's bad. But then, just as we've hit rock bottom, we've heard Trina singing. This isn't Hannah Montana. Put me out of my misery, please. They said yes. Yes, we will. Because none other than Andre Harris himself arrives to the scene. Oh, we love Andre in this household. What a legend. So he arrives, and unlike Trina, Amanzi is musically gifted. He is actually a legend. He is wonderful. I have nothing but good things to say about Andre, and you should feel the same. He tickles the piano, and the crowd goes wild. They know talent when they've heard it, as you should, as they should. Love as well, during this segue, we see Tori using a website that is conveniently cut off, but I'm pretty sure it was Twitter. Like, I don't think they even tried to hide it. Like, it was Twitter. It even said, I'm pretty sure, Twitter. Carrying on with our character introductions, we then learn about Miss Grandma Harris. Hello, Marilyn. Love you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. We have Grandma Harris, and we learned that a lady, she's a little unhinged. She isn't doing the best, but you know what? Live, laugh, laugh. Girl power, girl boss. What more can I say? Grandma Harris, everyone. Andre does let us know that she has not stepped outside for 6 years. I did not realise that until I rewatched this entire season. That is so dark in its ways. It's like that woman in Shameless, but we're not here to talk about Shameless, we're here to talk about Victorious. Now, segueing back to Trina though, her showcase dress, I wouldn't call it ugly. I like the blue, but it looks like it's made out of tissue paper. I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. I cannot be the only one that thinks that. It looks like it's made out of tissue paper, and sorry, not sorry. Anyways, again, we hear Trina's beautiful singing, and of course it is off key. I won't lie as well, I feel the representation. I'm a girlie that cannot sing, and you know what? I vibe. I cannot sing to save my life. The only thing is I'm not delusional, and I know I can't. I guess there is a fine line there, and Trina is on the other side of it. Flash forward to the big showcase. We open up with the two guys on the stage, popping and locking like they have to save their life. I mean, they're doing their thing, no judgment, but I mean, I can't pop and lock, tell you that much. But this is also the first time we actually meet Grandma Harris. There she is, in all her beauty and glory. And as we meet her, we also have confirmation that what Andre said was not an exaggeration, and he is not a liar. This is true. His grandma is unhinged. But then, just as you think you've seen the worst of it, you think Grandma Harris is unhinged? No, she's barely got anything on Trina, really, when you think about it. We hear Trina's cries of despair coming from backstage. Tori and her parents are like, oh no, as they're seated in the auditorium. They're like, what? Oh my god. And then they're like, we better go check that out. It's like the only time they actually act like parents. I'm calling out David and Holly back here. Yes, I am. Their parenting sucks, but we will get to that eventually. Turns out my girl Trina's tongue blew up because she is allergic to shellfish. She's allergic to something, and her tongue blows up. Dear Lord, does it blow up. It looked disgusting. It disturbed me as a child, and it still does, even upon rewatch. I wish I could unsee it. I don't want to look at her tongue ever again, thank you. But then this brings on further disaster, as Andre and the band can no longer perform Trina's part of the showcase. If only someone else knew the parts. Wait a second. Tori does. What? Safe to say, Tori does not want to be on stage. It was a hostage situation. Here we have the first bop of the season, and of course it is Andre's bop. We love you, Andre. Hostage situation is the first bop of the season, and it is well deserved. On stage, Tori comes out in a glittery, sparkly dress, and I won't lie, not that I ever would, but it reminds me of something you would have seen Selena Gomez wear on tour. Go check out my Selena Gomez in the Scene deep dive video, tagged up here. Anyway, we see a glimpse of the friendship between Tori and Andre blossoming in the pilot episode. I love their friendship. We see him as, just as she's about to perform, he reassures her that everything's gonna be okay. And this is a staple for their relationship throughout the entire show, not just season 1. Anyways, lights go down, piano plays, and Tori says, let's speed this shit up. And history was made. Here we have our next bop. It is Miss Make It Shine, Season 1, Episode 1, Tori Vega. When I make it shine. Oh, it kind of sounded auto-tuned. Can you see it? Hee hee. You can kind of see it. But as I said, history is made, a star is born, a bop is birthed. The crowd is bopping. Tori is nailing the choreography and hitting all of the notes, unlike Trina. And ooh, this was the time to be alive. If I could go back, maybe all my problems would be solved. Andre parkours over the piano, and the principal of Hollywood Art shows up, and I'm pretty sure we never see him again. At least not the same one. But he's all like, we need you in this school. This school has never seen talent like this. And then I question, who is going to the Hollywood Arts? Because it's supposed to be full of talented people. But I digress. Love as well how we have a humble Tori, because she is unsure whether she is actually good enough to be at Hollywood Arts, and relatable. But then again, Andre pulls through to be bestie of the century. He's like, this girlie's got it. He takes matters into his own hands. He's so confident that everyone's going to agree with him that he pulls down the curtains and shouts at the audience, "What do you think?" Of course, they all cheer at the top of their lungs like they've just witnessed the birth of Christ himself. And then we have our confirmation that Tori is accepted into Hollywood Arts. She is going to go to Hollywood Arts. Tori is her first day at Hollywood Arts. The lockers are all uniquely decorated. We have kids in the back drumming. We always do. Drummers love to drum. Did you know that? And may I say, those kids drumming in the back, they're not making a single sound. And we also have kids in beanies with side fringes. If that does not tell you when this came out, that should. But I just want to say, I really appreciated how average Tori believed she was and how average they kind of treated her in this first episode. Because relatable. Once again, thank you for the representation. Someone who is different though is Kat Valentine. My girlie. We love her so much. Kat Valentine. Kat is Kat. She instantly is all about that girl slay, girl power. She praises Tori for her performance at the showcase. And it's interesting to see how she wasn't as unhinged as we now know her to be. Or like she was able to actually formulate sentences like a normal teenage girl who was just a little bit quirky. So that was nice to see. We're not going to see that in later seasons, but we're on season 1 right now. Now, sadly, we have a bit of a downgrade with the next character we meet. We meet this man, Robbie Shapiro. Let me go this way. I'll figure this out one day. We meet Robbie Shapiro and we meet Robbie and Rex. Funny though, he's got that haunted ass Rex doll in this pilot episode and he has him for another couple episodes. I'm so glad they decided to eventually remold or whatever they did to that Rex doll. They made a whole ass new one and I'm so thankful because that one in pilot episode was haunted. It was creepy. It was criminal. I believed he would eliminate me in my sleep. I'm pretty sure I had some nightmares when I was younger when I first saw that face. Anyways, it's made abundantly clear to us immediately that Robbie does not get any attention from women. He uses Rex to talk to women. And I would argue this is the worst thing he's ever done in his whole existence. Because Robbie just used Rex this entire show to harass women. And he's like, "Oh, that wasn't me, that was Rex." Mandy, that was you. That was you. So, he's getting a flop for that one. Red card. He's a flop. Flop behaviour. Also, this is going to be a blanket statement for the entire season that Robbie constantly uses Rex to harass women. I can't be giving him flags for every single episode, otherwise he would be all the way to the top of my ceiling. So, we would just go with the one for now. There's his card, harassing women. That's such a flop first card to have. And I will warn you now, it does not get any better for Robbie. Enter Beck, and we have the cliche meet cute between the protagonist and another main character. Basically, Tori spills her drink on him, and he's oh so lovable and understanding about it, and he has nice hair. But oh no, Uno reverse. He's taken. He's not just the cliche lovable love interest. Oh no. They kind of set it up for 5 seconds that he could have been a love interest, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they did not go with that. I know they try and tease it later. Just as Tori starts to make her googly eyes at Beck, Jade walks in. She's like, I'm not having it. But she walks in with her blue hair and I fell in love instantly. But she's all like, "Why are you rubbing on my boyfriend?" Dan, interesting choice of words. I mean, she technically was rubbing him, but still, I'm going to blame Dan for anything that happens that's weird. It's the repercussion he deserves. Another interesting thing we learn about Hollywood Arts is that they do not have fire drills because instead of having fire drills, we meet Psychowitz, he shouts, "There's a fire!" And we see proof that the kids have no training in a fire drill as they go into absolute meltdown. Psychowitz lets them know it's a joke and we see he's the quirky fun teacher. He's also quirky homeless teacher because Tori mistook him for a homeless person and girl slay. I mean, you can't blame her. He's always walking around barefoot, which I consider a crime. If he had these bops and flops, his would all be flops for every single time he has a barefoot appearance because it's every single time he's in an episode. I think we need to do a barefoot counter. Bear with me 1 second. Ha 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 ha. Because I did not have anything to write on, We're just going to ding it up in the corner here, and you guys will see the barefoot counter go up sadly. So that's our first barefoot moment. There's also a really, wrong joke again in this episode, especially for a kid's show. It's a fat joke, and I blame Dan again, as I should. The premise here that set up the joke was Sikowitz says they need a thing, they need an idea or suggestion for their improv class, and Andre says it should be centered around big news. But then Sikowitz says nobody wants to see big nudes. Is that really appropriate for a kid's show? I don't know. I'm not a prude. But I think that's a bit wrong and didn't age well. Also, the extra in this improv class in this episode had a really creepy voice. I don't know what that was about. I'm so sorry. You did. I'm sorry. But the improv class does not go down without drama, as Jade makes Tori pretend to be a dog. Not only does she do that, she takes it a step further by saying Tori has fleas. I would be crying. I'd be shaking. I'd be so just miserable if that's my first day at a new school and you've got someone making it an absolute nightmare for you. This all becomes very nasty as well when Jade pours coffee over Tori's hair and entire body, and thank God I think it was not hot coffee and that it was iced or coffee or whatever it's called, because I think there was ice cubes in it. However, this is now going to be a flop for Jade. I call this one the coffee baptism. This is her first flop, and it's not her only flop. I love Jade, but that really truly was mean girl energy, and we cannot ignore that, okay? Okay, not in this household. To make the date even worse, some random guy gets his ass all up in Tori's face. Was that necessary? No, sir, it wasn't. Because of all this, though, it was all too much for our girlie, and she tries to quit the school. She tries to be like, I'm out, this is too much, bye-bye. She wants to go back to her old school, but again, Andre, my man's not having any of this. He's like, this is flop behaviour, bestie. You're not leaving. This is, again, a hostage situation, and I love him so much. He's such an icon. We love Andre in this household. Can I say that enough? Andre hypes a girlie up by telling her she is different. She is like all the other girls at Hollywood Art. She's talented. And he's like, you belong here. But let's not confuse her with high school normies. No, she's not a high school normie. She's a Hollywood Arts normie. There's a distinct difference. And as I said, it's a crime. We do need the foot counter. Tori's bare ass feet have no business being here, but sadly we have them here. Why? I don't know, but I do. Dan. So add that to the counter. Near the end of this episode though, I think it's the midway point as Tori is doubting herself with Hollywood Arts and being there. It's one of the rare occasions we actually see Trina be that bigger sister to Tori, and they have quite a cute sibling moment. So it's another point for Trina. This is a bop for Trina. This is a very basic card. It's just called Sisters. This is when they were sister slaying. Flash forward to the next day. We are back in Sikowitz's classroom. Tori enters the classroom, and let me say, clearly Beck had no hope that this girlie was going to survive Jade's mean girl energy, because as she enters he gives her a little smirk, he's so impressed that she showed up, and it's kind of funny. He's really impressed by the bare minimum. Sadly, Sikowitz is barefoot again, so it's another tally for the counter. But yeah, Tori's back in this classroom and she's ready for revenge. She's like, baby, now we got bad blood. During this improv lesson, they have improv alphabet. Ooh, what an interesting concept. The improv alphabet gets heated with only Jade, Tori, and Beck left in this little scenario. It started with a lot bigger of a group. No, this was not Sikowitz just instigating drama, but it's not the first time he would have done that if he had. But anyway, it's just Jade, Beck, and Tori left as they do their little improv alphabet. And let me tell you, it does not go well. Sikowitz just watches like it's an episode of reality TV. And we see this time and time again from this Manzi. He does not know how to direct kids in a room and stop drama from ensuing. Jade gets flustered with the rage and she fumbles the bag, leaving just Beck and Tori in this improv alphabet game. The letter is K. And Tori says to Beck, kiss me. Ooh, the drama was piping. And I was living for it. This was peak TV. It is improv class. it's, interesting, but I'm surprised, like, I don't know, is this a step too far? Should Tori be, like, red flagged for this moment? Should this be a flop for Tori? I'm not too sure. I don't know, I didn't mark it as a flop. Let me know what you think down below. I think that one's definitely up for debate. Should she have said kiss me to this guy, but then in acting you're gonna have that with other actors even if they're in relationships with people? So that one's definitely up for debate, that moment. And then the final part of this episode, Tori declares that she loves Hollywood arts. And then, fade to black, the pilot episode of Victorious comes to a close. This is definitely an iconic pilot episode. Not even just for like a teen show, but it's got the angst, the music, the tea, the drama. Sadly though, the next episode does not follow any of the above. Let me tell you that right now. I do not like the next episode. It's season 1, episode 2, the bird scene. If you've seen my best and worst rated episodes of season 1, you know that this was included, and my dear lord, do I find this episode boring. This has got to be my least favourite episode of Victorious of all time, and I can safely say that forever and ever and ever, and I'm never gonna take that back. We will speedrun this one. No one wants to drag on this episode for too long. Baddie Jade arrives just as Tori has like dropped all of her folders and classwork onto the ground. She asks her if she wants help, but does nothing to actually help. However, Andre and Robbie pull up to help our poor protagonist, Tori. For some reason as well, I didn't point this out in the first portion of this, but for some reason they have Rex slap Robbie in this episode, and it happened like 3 or 4 times, or 2 or 3 times in the pilot episode. I don't know why they had this happen so often. I don't know what it's about. I cannot tell you. I'm still a bit baffled why they did that so often. Like, hee hee ha ha, but not really, because I wasn't laughing. It's not like the best joke. This is also the episode where we finally have like Tori needs to decorate her locker as she's now becoming a Hollywood arts girly. Enter St. John. I'm gonna get that one day. Enter St. John. St. John Van Cleef. Weirdo. Poor St. John as well. He's making his first appearance, and it's like in the worst rated episode of Victorious in season 1, and in general, kind of, it's down in the bottom, I think 10. If St. John was down here with the main cast, I would so quickly give him a red flag, a flop, for his chewed up food locker idea. I don't know how that's allowed. Isn't that like breaking health and safety codes? Surely it is. It has to be. Also, we all know oh, what was that? Sorry. But this is the first time we get the iconic Victorious intro. We get, you don't have to be afraid to put your dreams in action. And the clap. We all know that I struggle to get the clap. I'm kidding. I definitely don't. I never struggle to get that clap. But if you know, you know. And that's the first time we get to see the iconic Victorious Make It Shine intro. History was made. Lives were changed. Back to Psychowitz's classroom though. Psychowitz abuses his kids. He throws balls at them. He throws one directly at Kat's face. And then at Tori. He is also barefoot again. I hate that this is getting higher and higher and it's not stopping there. This is when we get to the main point of the episode though. Tori can't star in Andre's play that she wants to until she passes the bird scene, the title of the episode, the bane of my existence. And alas, the most boring plot of Victorious is born. The B plot in this episode, I would say I cared about a bit more. It explored Andre and Robbie, and they were paired up together quite a bit in this season. They're joining a ballet class to try and pick up girls. Only though when they show up do they realise that every other guy in Hollywood arts had the same idea, and there's not any other girls in the class. And because of this, they then realise they kind of want to drop this class because they didn't want to do it in the first place. They only wanted to do it to pick up girls, and now that's kind of not working in their way. But then they're told by the teacher that if they are to drop the class, they will get a 0. And what did I tell you? The B plot's more entertaining than the A plot. Tori performs her first bird scene attempt, and she asks if she did it well. Now, to an outsider, that may not seem like a big deal. But Psychowitz then tells her no, not at all, flop bestie, and alas, she does not pass this round, which means the pain continues. This episode isn't over yet. None of her friends tell her why she flopped, and Tori can also maybe get a red flag for her whiteboard locker idea. Like, that's such flop behaviour, bestie. That's such a bad idea. I don't know why she had the, audacity to even suggest it, I'd be embarrassed. You're at Hollywood Arts and you say whiteboard locker. There we go, whiteboard locker. It's one of Tori's, it's her first flop. One more thing I'll say about the whiteboard locker is it somehow made the locker even duller than it was before. Like, it would have been better if she just didn't even attempt that one. But whatever. But ding ding ding. We get a boob joke. Basically, the gist of the joke is Tori's holding up these 2 coconuts to her chest. She wants to sway Siekowitz's judgment of her performance with them by, like, because he likes to drink coconuts. A girlie is trying too hard. One of the guys, I think it might be Beck or Andre, makes a joke about, like, they're a good size. I don't know. I kind of forgot, but it's one of those things, and that happens, and I was like, okay. Dan. Siekiewicz is barefoot again. Add that. Sadly. This time, Tori's gone a little bit more out for this performance of the bird scene. She has a backdrop, she has some old lady glasses, and a fake bird. No surprise though, she flops again because she does the thing where she asks, did I do it right? A little bit later in the episode, this is an extremely low point for Tori. She handcuffs Kat to the railing at Hollywood Arts, like on their stairway. Unforgivable. Flop behaviour. We're carding her. Like, it's not that bad. I promise you, girlie. Just do the performance again. It's like a 20-second performance. I don't know why she was, like, ready to eliminate herself because of this performance. Anyway, handcuffing Kat to the railing is gonna get... It's unhinged behaviour. It's very unhinged. I don't know why she thought it was a good idea. Like, who's gonna be handcuffed and want to tell you something, you know? To make matters worse as well about this incident, like, I could have added even another one here, but to try and convince Kat to tell her how to pass the bird scene, she feeds her choo-choo peppers, which are like the spiciest, hottest peppers in this little universe. I don't know if they're a real thing, but they're extremely hot and they burn Kat's mouth, and she even, like, withholds water for 5 seconds before finally caving in and giving it to her. Girlie, get help. That's not right. Also, though, I'm gonna knock Beck's locker. It's trying too hard. He makes it out as if it's because he doesn't want to try too hard, but he's all like, why don't you do something deep and artistic with your locker, Tori? Like mine. And then he shows us his locker and it's just transparent. But he's like, it's because I have no secrets. Like, everyone can know me for who I am and see that I have nothing to hide. It's so lazy. It's so boring. How are you at Hollywood Arts, sir? How? So that's his first flop. So we have Stupid Locker, episode 2. Beck's flop of the century. It's, like, unforgivable. Another thing that happens in this episode with Tori that could have been a red card, but I'm gonna let it slide. It's not really the worst thing. It's not really a crime. But she tries to seduce Robbie to tell her about the bird scene. And again, it's a 30-second scene. She was really losing it over this. Dare I say, get a grip? Finally, we are at the third and final attempt of the bird scene. Tori has gone all out on this one, and I don't know where she got the money from, probably her parents, let's not lie, all for this mini 30-second production. She finally passes the exam. As she shows the class, she believes in herself. She believes in her acting. She doesn't need anyone else's approval, and she goes off on one. She's like, I did it! I'm so good! I believe in myself no matter what you think! And it works. Siekiewicz is all like, bravo, you passed. We're so close to the end here, besties, don't you worry. Tori finally gets a locker that has personality. It's the Make It Shine locker, the one that, like, lights up with the Make It Shine. Probably cost the school a fortune on electricity. I just know she was upping their bill. And thank God that brings us to the end of the bird scene. Luckily, it can only go up from here, as that was I think it literally is the worst rated episode of season 1. May not be anymore, but at least when I did my season 1 best and worst rated episodes, I think it was the worst rated. At least in that category. After this, we have obviously episode 3. It's a bit of a mid episode, like, it could be worse, could be better. Again, with the questionable things. The episode opens up with Tori calling herself a throat player. Okay. Basically, though, every student at Hollywood Arts can play an instrument. I think it's kind of rude though that they don't count singing as an instrument, like your voice, because I would argue it's an instrument, and I'm on Tori's side about this one. This episode is called Stage Fighting though, and we learn that Tori is a bit of a dumb pooter and she does not know what stage fighting is. I mean, it's literally the name, it's stage fighting, it's not real. And the drama here though, because originally we learn that Tori does not know what stage fighting is because she walks in on Beck performing a stage fight scene with their, like, class assistant person who comes in to teach them a bit about stage fighting, and Jade's all like, why do you care? And Tori slaps Jade right back in the face with, I figured he already suffers enough pain dating you. The girlies were screaming. Tori chose violence, and honestly, she popped off with that line. I can't help but see it as like so iconic. Anyway though, the teacher said, I raise you, and he paired Tori and Jade together for this class's stage fight, where they are having to work together to work on a stage fight, and it has to be a stage fight. It can't be a real one. Keep that in mind. I want to say he was so messy though, like he knew what he was doing. Another thing I need to point out though was they're in the B plot, Robbie and Trina are trying to like get cast in this school play, but just before he's called into the audition, we see a woman sitting down on the floor and he places Rex right next to her. And I'm pretty sure that blondie is the same actress that plays Tara or Haley in The Freak Out. I'm not even pretty sure, I'm certain she is. I find it funny when shows do that, you know, in like the early episodes they have a character that they then bring back, but they're not the same character. In this B-plot though, Trina and Robbie share a kiss, the poor girlie. He instantly kind of falls in love with her after this, and it tells me it's probably his first kiss. He's never been touched by a woman before. Poor guy, but also poor guy really, because his first thing, in the first episode, he gets a red flag. He gets a flop for harassing women. Moving on. Back to the A-plot though, Tori shares her concerns with Kat that Jade will actually hit her in this stunt stage fight. And Kat being Kat, she won't stop talking about mirrors. Why? It's Kat. Here we have Trina showing her rudeness again, if we can call it that. It might be something more, it might even be a hate crime at this point. But Trina, being Trina, you know how she originally called Andre Andrew? She raises you one and she does it again. She calls him Andy. So, red flag for Trina, for Andy Harris. Because miss, that is not his name, I promise you that much. And the red flags don't stop there. This is not... And we've got another flop on our hands. Because Robbie, after sharing his stage fake kiss with Trina, because he can't understand that this was scripted, he then goes and kisses Trina without her consent and just like plants one, lays one on her. Violation. And we still have a funky looking Rex, so that does not help the situation whatsoever, and I'm telling you, there's evil in his eyes. So yeah, here we go, another red flag. On an important note though, it's time for Tori and Jade's stunt fight scene. All seems to be going well until Tori swings her cane, and dun dun dun, Jade's all like, she's bleeding from her eye. And Tori insists she did not hit Jade, but the evidence looks pretty damning. I mean, there's blood coming from Miss Jade's eyes. Jade, I'll get there eventually. It's just not looking good for Tori. It looked very convincing. Even I believed it when I was younger. Jade, what can I say? Oscar-worthy actress. Robbie shows up to the Vega residence unannounced as he comes to see Trina. And man needs to get a backbone and understand when a woman is not interested. And that this was a scripted kiss. She doesn't like you. And I'm going to give him another red flag actually for this. He's getting another flop because no means no. And he could not seem to understand that. So no means no is our next red flag. It's our next flop for Robbie. Oh, I dropped it. I'm going to end it all. This is another one of Robbie's red flags. I can't believe he's got this many. Like, it's not looking good. Something that really doesn't make sense to me in this episode though is due to the accident in the stunt scene with Tori and Jade. Tori gets called into the guidance counselor's office due to the school thinking she has like anger or violence issues. But then I ask, are they dumb? Surely they know accidents can happen during stage fights or stunt fights. And because of this, they give her 2 weeks of detention where she has to clean up after the theatre foods fight in the school in their little play. I believe it's totally uncalled for. Whatever though, anyways, they made that decision. I think it's a really dumb decision, and it's like, how do you as an art school not realise that an accident can happen during a stage fight? I don't know. Fun fact though, the officer Derek that's in the school, in the guidance counsellor's office with Lane actually, when we meet him for the first time, when she's in there with the officer Derek, he is, he's in Dynasty with Liz Gillies, like, their love interests. Just thought I'd point that out. and he's not aged a day. Robbie still won't give up with Trina though and continues to bother her, says she's in denial. He really truly believes she's into him and doesn't know it, and oh my god, that's so messy and that's so disgusting. Anyway though, Kat kisses Robbie in an attempt to prove to him that you can share a kiss and it not mean anything, but it doesn't work. We're talking about Robbie here, and instead he just falls in love with her instantly. He's off of Trina and he's now on to Kat. And did he ever really fall out of love with Kat after this instance? Debatable. Back inside, not in the courtyard anymore, back into the halls of Hollywood Arts, Jade gets splashed in the face with some water. And oh no, her wound is running like mascara. Maybe it's fake. Andre realizes it's makeup and the crowd goes like, whoa, you know what I'm talking about. Also point to Andre for being the best bestie to ever exist and for snitching on Jade to Tori. Throughout the entire season, the entire show, he is the greatest best friend ever. He's just the best. And I love that Jade tells Andre not to tell Tori about her fake black eye, and he's like, oh, but instantly he goes to run to look for Tori, and he's getting a flag for that. Oh my god, that's so flop behaviour. I forgot to print out his card that said he's the best bestie ever. I can't believe this, but pretend there's one there. He was supposed to be the best bestie ever. And this might be controversial whilst we're giving out bops. I'm gonna give Jade one too for the hustle and the dedication of her black eye, like her fake cut, because she had us all fooled. Don't lie, she did. I seriously thought that it was going to be funky because Tori really thought that Jade was going to hit her, but then Jade faked the injury, made it look like Tori hit her. So another point to Jade for fake blood. Fake blood. Point to Jade. It's her first point of the season. And some of you may argue she shouldn't even get that, but I don't care. This is my thing. This is my recap of season 1, because I just respect how quickly she had to apply that fake blood to make it look like Tori actually hit her and make it look convincing and do it with some level of talent. I don't know. Because also after that, she rocks up to school with a very convincing black eye. In Tori's detention though, she is breaking her back trying to clean up this place, trying to clean up after the food fight. Literally looks like a bomb went off in that like black box theatre they have. I would have hated as well to be in the audience during that theatre show that they had at Hollywood Arts, because food was everywhere, and if I got hit by some mac and cheese, I would have been mad. We have some character growth as well between Tori and Jade as they work together to clean up the theatre, and it's actually a really nice moment to see them two working together for the first time in this show. Jade slips, I think, as she's going to put on the radio, and I just want to say I don't think that was scripted. I think she legit just slipped because it was so messy in there, and I love those bits when something that's not supposed to happen happens and they keep it in. Anyways, we are going to reward Jade again. Might be controversial. She's going to get another bop for this instance, and it's called Enemies to Acquaintances. Yes, being nice to Tori is the bare minimum, but she did it and it shows character growth, and I'm rewarding her for it, and I don't want to hear about it. And this brings the episode to a close as Tori and Jade escape the black box theatre together as they leave Derek to clean up. Oh my god, I'm such a flop. I can't believe I forgot. Okay. This episode introduces Festus, the food truck owner, and I've forgotten him up here. I cannot believe this. I've forgotten Festus. I love him. Anyway, Festus, so sorry my guy. We're introduced to him. We're also introduced to the fact that Andre really wants to get stung by a bee. Like, this is a little character trait he has for a hot second. We learn that Beck has an audition for a movie as waiter number 1. He says you only get the full script once you get offered the role in the movie. But I think in real life they probably wouldn't give you your scene, or the whole script if you're in such a small role as just waiter number 1. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I feel like they probably wouldn't. They'd probably just give you your lines or the scene you're in. This episode carries on with the fact that Tori needs to learn an instrument though at Hollywood Arts to be in a play, and girl boss, have fun. We see her in the opening segment with a piccolo. She cannot play to save her life, and so far her talents in regards to instruments don't look good. Oh my god though, thinking of the B plot, Robbie's Rex nightmares scarred me. They were not necessary. No one can convince me they were necessary for me to see. Why were they covering him in snot? It was someone called for. Why was this something they thought was a good nightmare to have about being covered in snot by your puppet? I wish I could erase all of this from my memory, and I wish I didn't have to rewatch them for this recap, but I did. And Flop. Robbie's getting a flop for this. He's getting 2 flops for this instance. I'll explain them. First one is for Snot a Dream, because of the snot dream about Rex, and I wish I didn't have to see that. Like, that should not have been legal to show on TV, I believe. Because I would argue it's the worst thing I've ever seen on TV. And I've seen quite a lot now. Oh, this wall is not looking good for Robbie at all. Especially now as we're adding another one. Some of you may think I'm going really hard on Robbie, but I think this is deserved. His next flop is Spoonful of Mayo. Because to deal with the fact that he has just had that nightmare about Rex, he has a spoonful of mayo, and I just think that should not be allowed. It's just a really disgusting visualization that I did not want to see, and I'm not happy about seeing at all. It's not going strong for Robbie right now, and it's not going to go strong for him at all. Beck gets cast in the movie. He starts showing up late to class. He's all diva-ish. I'm kidding, he's not a diva. But, you know, he's a big actor and all with his way to number 1 part. Though they do say there are no small roles, only small actors. I don't know. I really don't know. But he's here to share the success, as he mentions the movie needs extras. They need extras for this little scene in a restaurant. And you know what? I'll give a point to Beck for being cast in a movie. Like, that's a big deal. Good for you, Beck. You did something, which is rare. Point to Beck for being employed. I don't know if this ever happens for any of the others. And I'm pretty sure he's the only one in this show that ever gets cast in a movie. Also, Sikowitz is barefoot again. Tragedy. On the set of this movie with Beck, though, there's this big star in the Victorious universe called, like, Melinda Murphy, and it turns out she's an actual real-life bitch on set. Like, she's a proper diva. She corrects Beck for saying his line wrong, but Tori realizes he wasn't wrong, and she corrects Melinda, as she should, bestie. This may be controversial because they tried to make Tori look like she's really dumb for standing up for Beck. But I'm gonna give her a point for standing up for him. I respect her for it. She said justice. I called this one 0 to hero. It's just mainly I was thinking of Hercules when I gave her this point. She stand up for injustice and says hee hee ha ha, not on my watch. Sadly, kind of because of this instance, Beck gets fired. Melinda sucks. They try to blame Tori for this, but it's really because of Melinda. Also point to Andre now for his musical talent. Bop Andre. Because the way this Mandy in this episode just starts to play his own score, talent. Unheard of. I believe in this Mandy. I trust him with my life. So there we have Andre doing so well for himself. I love that. We're also just giving out, like, golden stars left, right, and centre here, because now also bop to Beck for being an unbothered legend. I mean, he's always unbothered in every single episode you see him in. It's nothing special, but I'll give him a point for it because he got fired and he doesn't, like, go to blame Tori for it or make her feel bad about standing up for him, as he shouldn't, because she didn't do anything wrong. It was Melinda. Continuing with the disgusting B-plot of this episode regarding Robbie, he continues to receive guidance counselling due to his nightmares, but I don't think any amount of counselling can help him. He's here with my man Lane in this one. That's all I will say about that. I don't think anything's going to help him with that. Not with you having dreams like that. Oh, it's vile. Tori has this whole thing in this episode after she gets Beck fired that she really wants him, obviously, to get his job back. So her and Kat embark on a mission. Kat doesn't have anything yet, but her and Kat go on a mission back to the studios to try and get Beck his job back. And whilst they're there, Kat goes there and she distracts the security guard with a performance of a lifetime. And this is when now Kat is going to get her first bop of the season for being an Oscar-worthy actress. I called her a talented icon, but this was an Oscar-worthy performance of hers. She had me convinced that whatever was happening was dire. The surprising thing about this episode, which is really sad that I'm saying this is surprising, but considering we have Dan Schneider on this crew, and I know that the rest of the crew were not the, like, most kid-friendly, or they weren't really appropriate, it's surprising to me that there's an interaction Tori has with this with Melinda's stunt double on set. Tori's talking to Melinda's stunt double, but after he finds out that she's 16 after having attempted to flirt with her, he immediately stops and he loses all interest, and I was just really shocked that Nickelodeon had morals, you know? Dan Schneider, this is shocking. So whilst Tori's on set trying to get Beck his job back, there's a really important cue you need to take note of where this man who's got a bow and arrow, he has to shoot the arrow when the director or when Melinda shouts the words, "Get out." Anyway, Tori continues on her quest to try and get Beck his job back by convincing Melinda she's done the wrong thing and that Beck needs his job. But Melinda wasn't having any of it. She saw Tori as a peasant and she yells the cue, the phrase, "Get out." And what do you know? an arrow is shot through her palm. Turns out, though, production isn't mad at Tori for just getting their main star of the movie out of production and unable to continue with filming for the day or for however many months it might be or weeks. They were all like, let's shoot her again. And Beck gets his job back and everyone's happy. Tori's honestly so lucky that they couldn't have cared less that she just got rid of their lead actress, because in the real world we know she would have had to be, that would have been so dire for her. She probably would have been bankrupt. Her parents would have been bankrupt. Technically, I found out that was actually the worst rated episode of season 1, and I'm so confused. It wasn't when I did my tier ranking, I know that much. Like when I did my best and worst of season 1, so it must have changed by then, but I'm so shocked that that's the worst rated. I enjoyed that way more than the bird scene. Like, are people okay? Tori the zombie, though, of episode 5 of season 1, this is an episode I can't forget. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Like always, we kind of start with the kids doing something in the whole arts world. They are at Hollywood Arts, they're at an art school, they're performing a play. Point as well to Jade for the iconic line, 15 years ago your mother gave birth to the wrong thing. And whoever wrote that line, their pen was on fire. Poor St. John, he was really flamed with that one. We also learned that St. John loves disco, but I'm gonna give Jade a point for saying that really cruel line because it just sticks in my mind and it's so iconic. Girl slay. So here it is. The play they are performing is written by a woman called Sophia Mitchell, and the stakes are even higher for them as they're rehearsing, as they learn that Sophia Michelle is going to come and view their play on opening night. Tori does her usual dumb Pooter moment and asks who Sophia Michelle is. She has no idea, and I don't know how she doesn't know. If, like, girlie, you had to read the play to do the play. Clearly she struggles to read Leah Michelle who, and this is one of the instances where I understand Jade's frustration with Tori not being able to understand something. This is also the episode where we learn that Kat is into doing special effects makeup, and it's like her first and only time we see her kind of embarking on this. And again, I want to note, she was normal back here, like a girlie could actually function in society and do things, and I'm so mad at her that they took that away from her. The writers will pay for their crimes in seasons to come. I also learnt that all Tori truly wants in Victorious is turkey sandwiches, because she's constantly asking for them. I don't know if they're that good. And I mean, she even posts about it on the slap.com about turkey sandwiches. So like, girlie, I guess that's her favourite food. If we're gonna say what her favourite food is, it's turkey sandwiches. At this point as well in the show, Kat's catchphrase is kind of, what's that supposed to mean? She said it in every single episode thus far. We're on episode 5. Speaking of Kat, she transforms Tori's face into a zombie, hence the title of the episode, Keep Up. Did I tell you in the episode title? It's Tori the Zombie, but I didn't say. So sorry, besties. Oh no, Kat applied the makeup, the special effects makeup, with grizzly glue, aka super glue that's not meant for the face. The girlies are in hysterics. Tori is ready to shed blood, and Andre leaves with the pizza. He was here in this scene as Tori was getting her makeup done, and he's like, should I go get a pizza? He goes to get the pizza, and then he sees the commotion happening because Tori has found out that grizzly glue has been used on her face, and he just leaves. He dips with the pizza, and I can't blame a manzy. I'd do the same. It looked too messy. We are gonna have to give Kat a red flag, a flop for this moment, because this is just kind of unforgivable to use like industrial glue on someone's skin. Like, that's just not okay, and we cannot allow this one. Flop for Kat. Sorry, Kat. Another note to make for this episode, Trina ordered a vibrating hairbrush. Tell me that's not a joke for something else? Convince me otherwise? Another joke, I guess, in this episode is Trina jokes about plastic surgery, and I'm so tired of seeing this in basically all of our teen shows growing up. It was so common for girlies to be talking about getting plastic surgery and having had it done, and it was so normalised about women changing their faces. No wonder we have issues and self-esteem issues with the way we look. I know social media doesn't help, but it was so emphasised that these women were getting plastic surgery. It's the next day of school. Tori is still stuck in her makeup. She's rehearsing for the play, and the director is quaking. Jade's probably having the time of her life seeing Tori in this way. And apparently as well, Robbie can't dance. Apparently it looks like he's got something in his pants that's making him dance wrong. Fear not though. Trina and Kat are on their way to get the solvent for the grizzly glue so that Tori can look normal for the play when the curtains go up. I'm surprised they didn't crash though with the way Trina was driving. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if they made that a plot point. Anyway though, oh no, the play's set to start in 2 minutes and Trina and Kat still aren't back with the solvent. And that's because during their little mission to get the solvent, they stopped for ice cream. And apparently this put them back like 50 minutes, and only for matters to get worse, they also get stopped by the police in this same like sequence. Because of this then, Tori has to enter the stage with the zombie makeup on, and Sophia is granted, she looks confused as to why this main character in her play looks like this, but who cares when bam, a musical number ensues, and it's like the only time Beck sings, and bop for Beck, because when does he ever sing? This is like the first and last time he sings on this show and has like a little solo. So here we have bop for Beck, one-hit wonder for Beck, because he truly was a one-hit wonder. The finally falling performance is top tier, and I wish it was on the Victorious soundtrack, because I don't believe it is. Is it even on Spotify? I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure it's not even like on Spotify. Kat and Trina finally arrive with the solvent, and Tori makes the most suspicious exit on stage. That should honestly be Psychowitz's next class. And to fill in the space it takes for Tori to get the makeup off her face, they got all the boys like flipping and leaping on the stage. They're pulling it off, but it's just funny that that's what their go-to is. It's like, yeah, let's pop and lock on this stage. Let's do flips and backflips. Beck does a flip and a slide, if that means anything. Andre plays the piano as well, like his life is on the line, and I love Andre so much. This isn't a diss at him. If anything, he's the only one that does something right. And I the goosebumps though, because I think this scene's executed really well, and may I repeat, the song's a bop, but I love how whilst we have Andre and Beck performing for their life up on this stage to wait for Tori to make her way back to the stage, she finally makes her appearance, and like she comes out of all of the boysies and she's like, ooh, I'm finally free, I'm finally me, I'm a pretty girl. And again, goosebumps. Iconic performance. Sophia makes up in her mind, like she rationalizes why Tori had the zombie makeup on. She believed it was for like a deep little reason. She talks about something about substance over beauty within. Everyone obviously goes along with it because that's what you would do as a smart pooter. If she's gonna make up like you've got a deep reason for this mistake that happened, you take it. Episode closes though with a reference back to the beginning of the episode where St. John says that he likes disco, and we end it with a disco number where Tori is sandwiched in between Beck and Robbie, and it looked painful. She was getting thrown about in there. This is season 1, episode 6. Beck is an ungrateful little shit and doesn't appreciate the water Andre gets him. This is how we open the episode. It's not the best look for Beck. He's all pretentious because Andre got Beck mountain water, and he rationalizes that, like he thinks of that as fish pee. Tell me he's not privileged. Like, that's a privileged prick. My guy was acting like they don't filter the water. Beck is seen with another actress, not Melinda this time. This actress is called Alyssa Vaughn, a famous Nepo baby in their world. He's seen in a paparazzi picture with her as he's leaving like this yoga class. And of course this doesn't make Jade very happy. We know she's a very jealous girlfriend in this show. And if this episode title didn't already tell you where this is going, can you see where this is going? Trina? Oh my god though, this is such an iconic episode actually. Trina announces that she's got a one-woman play opening up really soon and everyone should come and watch, and you best bet everyone should go watch. See this little picture, the screenshot I took of her? Yeah, it's from the play. Do you recognise it? You should. Speaking of jealousy though, Jade is growing more and more irritated about Beck being with Alyssa Vaughn and their friendship, and she's not happy about it at all. She said, you cannot be friends with any other women. Red flag, I won't lie, but she's not actually getting a flop for that one. Because call me problematic, but I kind of get why Jade is upset, because Beck dismisses it by twisting Jade's words. He's all like, so you're saying I can't be friends with girls? And it kind of is that way, but Jade mainly has an issue with Alyssa Vaughn, and it's probably because she's like an older woman who has money and power, I don't know. And you know what, she's got a point, because she's saying Jade's argument is more that Alyssa is clearly showing an interest in Beck by constantly texting him, and I'd be more on Beck's side if the texts weren't constant, but because it's constant texting, I don't believe she's being completely irrational about this. This is not the first time this happens, but Beck gets Tori to mediate. Is that the word? And she sides with Jade on this one, even though she doesn't want to be involved. This results in Jade dumping Beck, and even though they are a toxic mother and father, I'm a girl boss for that one. She wasn't taking anyone's shit. And remember back into like episode 2 where I told you they do a lot of B-plots with Andre and Robbie? We have one here again. Robbie tries to trick Andre into writing a review of Trina's one-woman show because he's scared of Trina, as he should be. Cut to the next scene. Chicago! It's the iconic Chicago, Trina, the one-woman play. It's so good. It's so iconic. It is everything. 1,000,000 points to Trina. This is a bop for Trina. I mean, do I lie? No. Everyone knows this is very iconic from Trina, the Chicago moment. It's engraved in my brain forever. Point Trina for Chicago. This is her first point since the first episode. Oh, girly. Speaking of flops, though, this is such a musty move on Beck's point. He shows up, like, after him and Jade have now called it quits, he shows up to school with Alyssa Vaughn. Doing this completely validates everything Jade was saying and concerned about, because if she really was just Beck's friend, why is he then using her to show up to school with and publicly hang out with her the minute he and Jade are over? It's suspicious behaviour, to say the least. Here's a flop for Robbie, though. I don't know how we did this. It really deserves a -negative thousands of points, because he writes a bad review of Chicago, like the Trina musical, the one-woman play. So this is a red flag for Robbie. It's a flop. Trina review flop is what I called it, because that's what it is. And Trina rightfully demands that Robbie should change this, because that's so musty of him to give her a bad review, because clearly Robbie doesn't understand what it is and the impact it has on society and the high art that it is. Back at the Vega residence, though, the girls are playing Wii Sports. They don't say it, but I know it. I know that sound. And ooh, again, if that doesn't tell you the time period we are in. Jade, rare moment for her. She shows up at Tori's house crying, and she wants Beck back. She regrets her decision to break up with him. She's feeling even worse because Beck doesn't want to take her back, and that's such a dumb poo to move. I kind of get why, but also why, sir? Jade's literally begging you to be back with her. I'd heel over in a heartbeat. There is a tragic moment for Tori, though. Whilst Jade is at the Vega residence crying over her breakup with Beck, she cries into Tori's cushion on the chair, the settee, and turns out it was Tori's dead grandma's handmade pillow, which now has all of Jade's makeup over it, like all of her mascara and eyeliner, and that's a little bit awkward. You just ruined someone's dead grandma's cushion, and she can't make another one. We're always learning new things here, and here's another new thing we learned. Beck lives in an RV on his parents' driveway, so he can live under his own roof with his own rules. He's so different and so edgy. Tori came here, though, on a mission, as she wants to reunite Beck and Jade. Beck, again, doesn't want to get back together with Jade, and he kind of spills the tea that their relationship was a little toxic. It wasn't the best, and I mean, we knew this, but I don't care. They're mother and father, and they need to get back together. Robbie's review of Trina, the one-woman play, the one-woman show, remains unchanged. The men in this show really, minus Andre, are flopping in this episode. It's so bad. Because how dare Beck have boundaries? And Robbie needs to go back to Specsavers and get his prescription renewed, because if he cannot see the greatness that Trina the one-woman play is, I have no hope in society. Back to Jade's crying, though. She continues on with the crying, and she's all like, I'm too cool and hot and I've got it all, and I didn't hear one thing that wasn't true in that sentence. Beck is also, may I say, very lucky that she's even crying over him. On a real note, though, this is a good moment for Jade, I believe, because she actually appreciates Beck and doesn't take him for granted in this moment, and she really realises that she loves him and wants him a lot. Beforehand, I really do think she took him a little bit for granted. Jade comes up with the idea that the best way to get Beck back is to get him a dog. Again, when they had the money for this, not too sure. Trina catches wind that Robbie called her play a comedy, and it's safe to say she's not happy about it, and she's so right for that. She, as a result of this, sends Rex flying through the sky and flips Robbie's table, and a girly is hench. I love this moment for her. It's iconic, it's very girl boss, and it's deserved, because who doesn't understand that Trina, the one-woman show, is such a classic and an instant hit? The world, don't you worry, is healing, though, because on Trina's opening night of her one-woman play, the house is packed to the brim. There's not an empty seat, and guess who is in one of those seats? Who are you guessing? Who are you guessing? Give me a guess. Jerry Trainer. Now, I'm not sure if they cast him as, like, Spencer Shea in this moment, but I'm gonna call him by his government name, Jerry Trainer. But oh my gosh, speaking of Trina, back to Trina. We don't care about the mansies right now, but back to Trina. Her impact is insane. Her Mary Poppins ass entrance is phenomenal. Oh, she's a visionary. We get our second performance of Chicago, and it's a bop. It's even better than the first. She also has an iconic quote at the end of her performance where she says she's no longer calling it Chicago. It's now Chicago. Oh, it's too good. That's, again, the pen was on fire with that one, whoever wrote that line. After this performance, though, no one better question how she got into Hollywood arts. Like, I don't understand how that became an episode, really, when you look back to this one, where she's performing Chicago, her whole one-woman show, because it's great. It's what art is meant to be. Back to the main plot, although I argue that Chicago, the Trina plot, is the main plot for me. Jade shows up to Beck's trailer with the dog, and she plants it in there with Tori, but then tragedy strikes, because, oh no, it looks like it's a murder scene. We hear Beck getting mauled to death by this dog, only for us to then find out 2 seconds later it's not indeed Beck, it's actually Beck's father being eliminated by the dog. So, it sounds bad, it literally sounds like a murder scene, so I have to give Jade a flop for this one. Like, I don't want to, but she is getting a flop for hospitalizing Beck's dad. Like, that's just not a good look at all. Some real dark stuff happens in this show and they just play it off for laughs. Regardless though, spoiler, who would have guessed, the episode ends with Beck and Jade getting back together. After a very Nickelodeon kiss, definitely not a Disney kiss, Jade says, "You love me again," and wait for it, Beck replies with, "Who said I stopped?" I just know I was in the feels when I was like 12 and I still am. That's such an adorable line. My heart, the goosebumps, the feels. Oh, it's adorable. Mother and father are fixed. All it took was an almost murder. And that's kind of on point for these two, isn't it? Especially for Jade. Like, that actually kind of worked out really well to bring them back together. That was so on point for them. The Nickelodeon, though, makeup continues. Disney Channel would have had a stroke if this was on their shows. They would not let that happen. You best bet that was not going to happen on a Disney show. We are now on to season 1, episode 7, the Birth Week song. One of my favourite episodes of this season. We start the episode, Tori cannot for the life of her find a good present for Trina, and we learn that Trina demands she has a birth week. This is a point for Trina, this is a bop for Trina. I think it's iconic. I want a week-long celebration of Me Too. Point, birth week. Again, Victorious is all about learning. We now come to understand that none of the Victorious main gang are good gift givers, because Tori's telling them that she really is struggling to find a gift for Trina. Andre suggests cheese and Robbie suggests lotion. Jade may have been onto something by saying Trina needs the gift of talent, although the previous episode would not support that statement, because I will still stand by the fact that Trina's one-woman show, the one-woman play, was a play of the ages. Shakespeare is shaking. B plot again involves Robbie. This time though, he's not with Andre, he's with Kat. Kat again says, "What's that supposed to mean?" And she still hasn't got an episode without saying it. They really wanted to make that her thing. Robbie's grandma is also a very stereotypical old fart who doesn't know how to use a computer. We all have that one old fart in our family that doesn't know how to use a computer, so nothing new there. Tori goes into quitter not winner mode when she sees that Trina has the gift that she just bought for her, which are like these Vicini boots, I think they're called, that Tori wanted to give her. But then Andre's all like, "What about a song?" Andre gets a sickening melody going, and basically he does all the heavy lifting in regards to this present. He also writes the song, so it's more of a gift from Andre than Tori, I would argue. Again, debatable. Fast forward though, at the Vega residence, it's Trina's birthday. David and Holly are there. Rare to see them parenting, if we can even call this episode that. Anyways, the stage is set. The drumsticks are clicking. Tori walks out in a fabulous, stunning rose dress. The girls lose their mind. I wanted to be her, or did I want to be with her? I'm still not sure. This moment though is also another point to Andre for his insane skills, but for the song, "You're the Reason." I love this song so much. It still holds up today, and I think it's a great Victorious song. It's one of their best ones. I love it so much. Also, even though I said this performance, like this song is one of my favourites, it's very iconic. It's a great performance. It has the girlies screaming. But was Trina wrong for, after the performance, asking where her present was? Like, I'm a Tory supporter, I will always defend the girly. And I will defend it till the end of time, but I would argue this time it wasn't it. The song was great, yes. The performance was great, yes. But was it really about Trina on her birthday in this instance? Or was it just another moment for Tori to perform and kind of make it about her? Intentions aren't entirely clear, and I'm a gift girly. I love opening presents, so I feel Trina's pain in this one. Again, I want to hear what you guys think down below. Was this wrong of Tori to give her a song as a present? Like, would you count a song as a present, or Would you prefer a gift? Are you on Team Trina or Team Tori right now? Back to the B plot for a second though, not that I really care about it in this one. Robbie's mama, I think that's what we call her, a mama, FaceTimes him whilst he's doing a report, like a little presentation in class. I don't know why he didn't just decline the call. His mama wasn't holding him at gunpoint. He's an extremely dumb pooter for accepting that call, and it leaves him embarrassed in front of his class and Kat. And he falls to the floor in embarrassment. And what can I say? You caused that on yourself. Now buckle your seatbelts though, because drama alert. Trina sold the song You're the Reason, and she used the money to buy herself a hat. She hustled though because the producer also wanted her to record the song. Little did he know she can't sing. Like, she is tone deaf. Robbie is at his mama's again though, and she is trying to set up Robbie with a girl called Brenda, who is kind of dressed like they're way younger. They're dressed to look young is what I'm going to say. They have like little pigtails, they're holding a stuffed animal, and I don't think this girlie is in Robbie's year group. She's definitely a couple year groups below. It's Nickelodeon though, questionable but not surprising. I'm not surprised to see this. Trina though is recording the song, and the producers realise Trina cannot sing for her life. They mute her because she is so bad, but Trina looked like she was having the time of her life in that recording booth, and good for her. She gave herself a little birthday present out of it. She gave herself a recording session birthday present. See, that would have been a good idea. Let Trina record her own song. Plot B interrupts again though, very rudely, and Robbie lies to his grandma and tells her that they have cancelled the internet. The internet no longer exists. AKA he cuts the grandma's wires to like her internet because she continues to berate Kat. And that happened throughout this entire episode. She was just attacking Kat again and again. Back to the main point of the episode bit though, the part that I care about. Trina finally admits she isn't the singer on the demo and calls Tori in. She gets in the studio and everyone's bopping along and having the best day ever. The producers have a smile on their face for the first time, and suddenly one of the guys gets a phone call. Ring ring. Ring ring. Beyonce wants the song. She wants to record You're the Reason, and she's ready to go. So this is when we do have to eventually give Trina a flop for this moment, because Beyonce wants the song, and you know how much she sold that song for, and how much it's now going to make that Beyonce wants it? Go on, guess. How much did Trina sell the song for? If you said $500, you are correct. Trina is getting a red card for selling for $500, because that is honestly awful, especially when you see that Beyonce wants the song. You could have made so much more, my girlie. Like, in this economy, $500 not covering anything. I'd be crying if I was Andre and I found out that my song was, one, a song that Beyonce wanted, but two, was also a song that Beyonce wanted that was sold for $500. Now though, we are on to season 1 episode 8, Roborazzi. This episode was rated 7.5 out of 10, making it in the top 30 of Victorious episodes. This episode always stuck out to me. I think it's because I appreciate how they were kind of parodying people like TMZ, and I've always thought TMZ was like extremely slimy even at 10 years old, so I really appreciated this episode and the way they kind of mocked that whole thing. I also love this episode because it's Kat's Sky Store obsession. Like, it's the first time we see that and like the last, but I loved it so much. No, actually it comes up again. So we're gonna give a point to Kat for this one. She's getting a bop for this. Sky Store slay. Because I love how she was spending money left, right and centre. I feel you. I love doing that. And I also support spending your money on random shit. I know we've already talked about the real like main plot of this episode being the whole Roborazzi thing, and the side plot is Kat's Sky Store obsession, but Robbie expresses how the seniors that run the slap want to cancel Robbie's blog because he's boring everyone, and are we surprised? No. Like, my guy wrote about the school library being repainted. No one's reading that. No one wants to read that. You're at school. Why would you read more about school? The seniors had every right to silence that man. Tori, however, though, sets the plot in motion by giving Robbie an idea for his blog. She says that he should make his blog about the students of Hollywood arts. Sadly, his first blog post is about St. John's collection of human teeth. Well, of past presidents' teeth, which is concerning to say the least, but we're not surprised after having seen his, like, chewed up food locker. However, whilst we watch this interview that Robbie does with St. John, we see in the background that Tori is trying to pop a pimple. Well, we don't see it. Rex technically sees it first and tells Robbie to zoom in, and then we see that Tori is popping a pimple. Like, we can't let her pop a pimple in peace. That would be wrong, Rex believes. Robbie zooms in on the image of Tori popping her pimple like 5,000 times, and the quality of the image never goes down like the video. It stays as crisp as ever, as it did when Robbie was filming St. John. And I have to suspend my disbelief for a second, because I know when I zoom in on this, it's going to lose some of the quality. I just thought I'd point that out as someone who does, like, filming and editing. It's always, like, stuck out to me, that part. Robbie decides though that it's not morally wrong to post this video of Tori popping her pimple, as he would rather be popular than be a loser. That's kind of his whole thing about this episode. He doesn't want to be a loser, but he wants to be popular. May I say though as well, we're going really steady at this point in time in Victorious, because this barefoot counter has not changed. Yay! Go us, finally, peace can be found. Back to Kat's Sky Store obsession though, we see another one of her purchases. She's bought the world's best alarm necklace, and I want one too. I don't want people near me. She shows us how this works by getting Beck to stand close to her, and the alarm goes off with a bang. It's loud, and Beck produces some flop behaviour. He's not going to get carded for this. He's actually out of cards already, but he shames her for her Sky Store obsession, and it's kind of rude. That's flop behaviour, bestie. Like, that's her money, that's her business, not yours. This episode, I want to point out, also had Mino from the Maze Runner in it. I loved him so much, and I always think of that thing he does, I think in the Scorch Trials, where he, like, Superman kicked the man in the security place. But anyway, besides the point, but he is in this episode, just want to say that. Remember that pimple post though? Tori surely does. She is upset. She's seen it. She tells Robbie she's seen it and she wants him to take it down, and she's mad about his post. However, despite Tori clearly being upset about this post, Robbie continues to go on with his blog about, like, exploiting his friends, and he's willing to sell them out for popularity. And that's what we learn, that Robbie is kind of a really fake friend. He even goes as far to start rumours that Beck and Jade are Splitsville. Oh, he's so rude for this one, especially after our, like, previous episode or the one before that. Like, not when they just broke up 2 episodes ago. I want to say as well, it's kind of iconic that everyone at Hollywood Arts knew that Beck and Jade were the it couple, because they were news reporter worthy about, like, they were newsworthy in regards to their relationship. Like, people cared. But all in all, this means Robbie is gonna get his bop. Nope. Robbie is getting a flop for this episode, all in all, because, I mean, Roborazzi is a flop. It's really an iconic moment in the show. Like, I love the episode, but Roborazzi as an idea, as what he does to his friends, is a big flop. Oh, Robbie, this looks so terrible. He's not got one good point in sight. I swear I didn't do this on purpose. I did not mean for it to be that bad for Robbie, but here we are. The gang confronts Robbie during a taping of his show, and Beck continues to joke. He continues to joke that he and Jade might be breaking up. Like, they might be Splitsville, but my guy, stop. You were just on a rocky, like, path in your relationship 2 episodes ago, and now it's not the time for jokes. But knowing Robbie, and he wants to be popular, he is fame hungry and he enjoys the power, because even though his friends express how upset they are with his actions, he still continues on with them. Just like any fantasy character in a book, this is very important to note, Tori growls at her computer screen. Another thing that happens that I think is point-worthy, Kat juices Beck's lunch. And you know what? He didn't need it anyway. No, this is not fat shaming, but I'm just saying, if a girlie decides to have a hobby, support her. I will as well say he doesn't need it, because Beck never has any energy. Like, go Beck, give us nothing. Whilst Kat, though, juices Beck's lunch, Robbie has the audacity to show up and sit with his friends and be like, hey guys! Even though he keeps exploiting them, he thinks he has the ability to be able to sit with them. Like, are you dumb? He's just embarrassed all of them online and he's trying to sit with them. I think not. All of them let him know that they don't want anything to do with his nasty business, as they should, because Roborazzi was so mean to all of them. Speaking of Kat's juicer with foods though, she now has a tennis ball cleaner, and I want one. I really wish I could get one. I want the one specifically from her Sky Store, and I always have, even when I was younger, because I'm a girlie that plays tennis. I love tennis, and I would love to clean my tennis balls. I don't understand as well how the people around her didn't appreciate how cool her purchases were, because the teachers have no business, because I'm speaking to you, Lane, getting involved with her purchases. It's her money, let her do what she wants with it. I know they don't get paid enough to care, I don't know why they pretended to care. Remember when I said that Robbie was running with the story that Beck and Jade are Splitsville? Well, he had one of his minions film them and violate their invasion. Well, he allowed them to violate their privacy because their car was parked in this remote ass area, and there's just one of his minions in the back of, like, Beck or Jade's truck filming them. And if this was Pretty Little Liars, you best believe they would not have just been 2 people talking in that car. They would have been full on going for it, making out. It would have been steamy in that car. The windows would have been foggy. So that was such a violation that they had, like, this little minion in the back of the car. Now we have a very Dan Schneidery part of this episode. It's not feet No feet were shown here, but I think you'd probably remember it. It's a very questionable moment. Back at the Vega residence, Tori's mum puts on this armpit cream on Tori's armpits. Shocker, I know. And I think it's to do bleaching the hair or something, or removing the armpit hair. Why this was a necessary thing to show, I don't know. Yes, they kind of do it so the Roborazzi kids can catch Tori in an embarrassing kind of moment. And sure, it's embarrassing to have a picture of you, your armpits in the air, and they're all out and about. But there's so many other things they could have done that could have been embarrassing, rather than just having Tori with armpit cream on her hair. The gang finally get back at Robbie though after all of this. Justice is stored, and they steal his clothes after gym class, aka PE for my English people. They record the whole ordeal with him just in his towel, and they threaten to post it online unless he kills Roborazzi. Fearing the world seeing his nipples, Robbie decides to turn Roborazzi into a cooking show. And finally, the menace that is Robbie is put to a stop, for now, with Roborazzi, not with his actual life, and the gang can rest. Each time I say gang, I feel like I'm talking about the Scooby-Doo people, but I'm not. This is the Hollywood Arts gang. The episode, though, doesn't end with the A plot. It kind of ends with the B plot, with Kat and her Sky Store addiction. Beck ruthlessly rips up Kat's Sky Store magazine. It's so uncalled for. And a girlie delivers another Oscar-worthy performance. She's crying into her little hand about him ripping up this Sky Store magazine, and she's pretending she doesn't have another one in her bag. In her backpack, wink wink, she does. I mean, let's say it as well, Beck, Tori, and Jade, and Andre were kind of dumb pooters for believing that there was only one Sky Store magazine. Sure, they can rip up this one, but it doesn't mean she couldn't go and get another one. She could go online, she could order another one, she could probably go to a store and get another one. That wasn't gonna stop her. Anyway, they just didn't let a girlie have a hobby, did they now? Either way, this brings Roborazzi to a close, the episode and the show Roborazzi. And the bare feet counter, or the barefoot counter, remains unchanged. Thank God. This next episode, though, is season 1, episode 9. It's an example of another one I couldn't really care less about. I'd never really given it a second thought, and it's never one I go to rewatch. In class, in the black box theatre, Tori's sitting next to a student that looks like he's been through it. He looks like he's on death's door. Robbie also has a new car that keeps breaking down. It was given to him by his uncle or something, and his shoe was stolen. That's where we're at. A former Hollywood art student known by Dale Squires. He's a big deal. He's a big, Hollywood director, and obviously he's alumni from Hollywood Arts. If you want to know a fun fact about Kat as well, we learned something about her in this episode, and that is Kat loves a mass text. She gets the word out that Dale is in the school as of right now. He is here. He is out and about. That's how the mob comes running towards him, and that's how they know Dale is in the building, and that is how also Trina knows that Dale Squires is also here. Dale announces in the class that he is here to film a short film with the class, and they get to use pro cameras and equipment. Tori, being the legend she is, offers up her house for them to go and film this short film at. B-plot, though, involves Robbie again. It always involves Robbie. This time, though, he's paired with Beck. Not Kat, not Andre, Beck. They are there to work on their cars. It's not the most interesting B-plot this show has had, but I know 10-year-old me was somewhat in love with Beck, so it did keep me somewhat interested. Rightfully so, though. Holly Vega freaks out a little bit about the amount of people taking up space in their house in the Hollywood Hills, and Tori reminds her, though, to check her priorities. How dare you be uncomfortable, mum, in your own house when I've invited a bunch of people to come and film a film here? She tells her, you need to relax, lady, because Dale Squires is here to direct a film and you need to sit down. AKA people with higher social status should walk all over us is what I learnt in this episode. And Tori's parents, have I mentioned that they're amazing parents? Maybe not, but here they are. They are definitely the best parents ever. If you want to know how to parent and raise your kids, they're definitely the prime example you should run to for that information. Because Kat tells Holly Vega, hey, Tori locked Trina in the bathroom. And what does Holly do? She couldn't care less. She does not, lift a finger to go help Trina. She actually condones Tori's behaviour. She's like, yeah, girl slay. Here in this episode, we also get another iconic line from Jade. Tori asks, what time is it? And Jade snaps back with, I'm not your clock. Icon. Dale shows up late and is instantly useless to the kids. He tells the kids to start shooting the movie without him because he possibly has a booty call. Beck and Robbie in the B-plot continue to work on the car. It's mainly Beck, but Robbie sees the attention Beck's getting from the girlies and he wants in. Kind of reminds me of the B-plot in the bird scene. I'm baffled by how they actually got any filming done back in the Vega residence though, as whilst they're filming a scene where Kat is unconscious and Jade has to slap her, Dale is constantly on his phone. Like, I don't know how they cut that out of the audio, like, when they were recording. Because he was only, like, 2 meters away from this filming process. Now, I didn't want to do this, but I think I have to. Jade's getting a red flag, she's getting a flop, because she actually slaps Kat across the face instead of a stage slap, like in episode 3. So I think there needs to be repercussions, like, this was bad. So I'm gonna give her a flop for assault. This red card is called The Slaps. Not to be confused with theslap.com. Despite Dale's nasty attitude though, Tori continues to girl boss it, and she forces him to do something. Anything. But he's still useless, and Tori and Andre have to explain everything to him. He's really just a menace in this episode. He also condones the slapping of Kat, which... Sir, you're the adult here, please assert some authority, like, at least pretend to try and care. And he does that as well just after Kat kind of, like, begs him to make sure Jade doesn't do that again, but he's all like, haha, hee hee. Just girly things, that's so funny. So Jade's red card is deserved because Kat made it known that she really did not enjoy being slapped, as you would not. They showcase this short film in the class, and lo and behold, Dale takes credit for everything. No one else's name comes up in the credits, and ooh, he is one nasty spirited man. Now, this is a common thing for Tori. She stands up to authority and she stands up to Dale and calls him out. Icon behaviour, she truly is an it girl, girl boss. She gets a point for this. Point to Tori for slaying authority. Matters get even worse though when their movie reaches 2 million views and Dale is still taking credit for everything. He's not given any of them any credit that they're due, and he's silencing Jade by deleting all of her comments. On this post, they also see that Dale is promoting his upcoming live TV appearance, which is actually being filmed only down the road, like from Hollywood Arts. Now I need to kind of remind you about what's happening in the B plot. Not that anyone really cares about this B plot, but more girls come to watch as Beck and Robbie continue on the car. A girl nastily sprays Robbie with a hose to clean him, and Beck's just like happy to let this happen. He tells her to go again. That's mean behaviour, sir. Robbie did not deserve that disrespect. Like, yes, this says he does deserve it with all his red flags, but I think it was mean. Like, he's actually been okay this episode. But back to that live taping. Tori, Kat, Jade, and Andre show up to the late night with Mac Murphy live airing, taping, but they show up with an actress. They have set a plan in motion to embarrass Dale on live TV, and all they have to do now is wait for him to come out. Before we get to the end though, back at the Hollywood Arts car park, Beck finishes on Robbie's car, and Robbie's upset that the project is over because he was enjoying all the attention that he was getting from the girls. Although being sprayed with a hose, I don't know if that's like the kind of attention you want, and the attention was more for Beck. But Beck does him a solid, and he tries to set him up with a girl. Although, as soon as Beck leaves, 2 men jump out of these bushes and they steal Robbie's car. It's such a bizarre moment, but okay. Hello, mister. Hello. My little pockety. Okay. Funnily though, at the very end of this episode, just as we got 3 minutes left till credits are rolling. Speaking of credits, Dale finally gives the kids of Hollywood Arts and the short film credit for what they've done in the movie. He has a change of heart and he begins to credit everyone that actually worked on the movie. It's too late though, and Andre's cousin, the actress, gets up and begins to embarrass and attack Dale on live TV. She accuses him of messing with her heart by ghosting her after she expressed her love for him. It was so messy. Mac Murphy, as well, the TV host for this show, could have put an end to this attack, but he's a businessman and he said, let this follow through, let's see this go all the way. A man, deep down, he knew this was gonna skyrocket his ratings. Despite having caused the situation though, Tori, Kat, Andre and Jade leave the premises and they leave to go and get some waffles. Such teen behaviour. What was interesting though, after I rewatched this episode, I realised I didn't dislike it as much as I first initially thought I did. I actually, would I go back to rewatch it? I don't know now. It's more like a could do. I could go back and rewatch it. We are now at the halfway point of season 1. Season 1, episode 10, Rex dies. This isn't the best episode for the halfway mark. It's a meh episode. It got 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, and I believe it deserved lower. First up, we've got at a strike on the barefoot counter. We were doing so well. We made it so far, and I knew eventually there had to be a time when Sikowitz came back, and that meant his bare feet were coming back with him. In this episode, Sikowitz is directing a play, and his leads are Andre and Robbie, and Tori is put to work with Sinjin and his team on special effects. And when she says she knows nothing, and Sinjin says, "We'll teach you," totally doesn't come across as creepy at all. Trina has these genes called felony genes, and what can I say? They sound like a crime. I don't know what relevance that had, but I wanted to point it out. I love as well how Trina was strutting up and down until Tori, Kat, and Andre noticed her in her new jeans. There is also a funny point in this episode where Andre expresses his difficulty in crying on command, and obviously as actors this is quite important. All three girlies, Trina, Tori, and Kat, do it with no issue. Andre then says it's because they are girls, it's easier to cry on command. But then we pan to Robbie and he is also crying. I don't know, I think the pan to Robbie in this moment was pulled off really well, and it really added to the comedy, but also it is also a credit to Matt Bennett's acting. I think he and Leon were really good at comedic timing in this show. He also says the line, "Sometimes I have trouble not crying," and what a mood. What a moment for Robbie. That was such an iconic thing for him to say. I should have given him a bop for that bit. Remember when I said Tori's working with the crew? Well, Sinjin hands her a special effects crew t-shirt with a very questionable stain on it that honestly looks like a skid mark. There's no other way to see it. In comes though the turbo blaster, turbo jet thing. They're going to be using this to play, well, for the tornado effects in this play. It is also, let's note, a murder weapon in this episode. And here we go. We can argue maybe I have my head in the gutter, maybe I'm searching for things that aren't there. But Andre says the turbo blaster doesn't just blow, it sucks. And I mean, this is Nickelodeon after all, so maybe I'm not reaching too far. 20 minutes until the play starts and Kat electrocutes Jade. Sorry, Kat, but this is a flop. What can I say? Electrocution, flop. Electrocuting Jade, flop. During this whole scene though, Robbie asks Tori to watch over Rex. It was the worst thing he could have asked for her to do in this episode. Sikowitz comes out now to check that all the special effects are working whilst Robbie's having a toilet break. Tori the dumb pooter had one job. And that was to put the turbo blaster on blow and not suck. She had one job. Sometimes it's very hard to defend her. Basically, this means she eliminated Rex. He comes out all mangled of the turbo blaster. I'm talking one eye on his cheek, Voldemort-ass nose, and a backwards arm. So Tori, this is a flop for you. This was an almost murder. Well, it was basically a murder. Minus he did not die. I feel like I could have given her a girl boss though moment for this, because was it really a bad thing to eliminate Rex? But I guess I don't care what anyone says, I'm right for giving her that red flag, because Rex was Robbie's BFF. They were besties for life. It was his only friend in this show. And it's a sad, sweet moment, I guess, when Robbie realises that Rex is completely mangled and he needs to go to the hospital ASAP. Yes, I bully Robbie, but do you want your childhood toy to be mangled? No. I know I wouldn't want mine to be. Tori, Kat, Jade and Beck take Rex to the hospital as they want to stage his death in a more believable way for Robbie to let him move on from this part of his life. They convince the doctor to play along with this idea, but he wants something in return. He says, "We're not doing this for free, this is America." His 16-year-old son is a loser, and he wants Tori to go on a date with him. They should not, though, have taken their eyes off of Kat during this whole sequence, because, Kat gets talking to the receptionist at the hospital at the front desk, and after talking to Kat for 5 seconds, she diagnoses her. I don't think she's qualified to do that, but she does. She takes matters into her own hands and sends Kat to a special unit. Someone needs to get that woman away from hospital ASAP, because she's not qualified to do that. Not her diagnosing them the second she meets them. She needs to be locked up herself. But that doctor that wants Tori to date his 16-year-old, he fixes up Rex's face, which is kind of funny, I don't know, man. He went through all that effort to fix up a puppet. But also respect. He was having a slow day. When do doctors ever have slow days at hospital? You tell me. Switching back to Kat though, she is admitted into the mental ward at this hospital, and they put foam cubes onto her hands, and she's in a proper cushioned room. It's stereotypical what you'd believe a mental ward to be like when you're 5. This is also beyond me though, because again, there is no way this was legal, putting her in there. Also, wouldn't you have to be a threat to yourself to be put into this room? And how is a girl with an active imagination a threat to herself? Oh my god, let Kat have fun. Robbie arrives at the hospital. He's got 15 minutes, or it's 15 seconds, until Rex will flatline. He's gonna be dead. More importantly though, Kat. I'm still so mad they put her into the ward. and without proper grounds too, and without a parental figure's authorization. Sadly though, this whole scenario then makes sense when you see where this scene leads. Kat discovers her nose is itchy. She can't use her hands, they've got foam cubes on them. Gotta add to the foot counter. She takes off her shoes, or her socks, or her slippers, whatever they gave her, and she proceeds to itch her nose with her toes. I don't know anymore. I cannot excuse Nickelodeon for this. This is such odd behaviour. It just feels like the weirdest plotline to force in there that wasn't necessary. Whilst Robbie is watching Rex flatline and breathe his last breaths, Tori and him sing Rex's favourite song, which is Forever Baby by Michael Corcoran. Don't know if that's a real person, but either way they sing it. And they're singing and Robbie stops and does Tori so dirty and he says, "Sing it on key." Like, he did not have to do her so dirty. He did not have to do her like that. Like, it's so funny, but I forgot he said that. And it's just so out of pocket. Rex flatlines, though, after this. Rest in peace. I would say legend, but he was no legend. He was a menace to society. However, one could argue Tori makes it shine by bringing Rex back to life, aka turning on the machine that was like beep, beep, beep. Because of this and Tori's actions, Robbie's will to live is restored. Rex sings and Tori sets Trina up on the date with Lendl, the doctor's 16-year-old son that's a loser. Episode ends. Lendl is a certified loser. And I'm not saying that because of the way he looks, like his unibrow or whatever. Like, I support unibrows, do what you want. But the way he sucks on the lobster is absolutely vile and disgusting, and I hate when I can hear people, like, eat and make mouth sounds, okay? Okay, the boy needs help. Now we're on to Season 1, Episode 11, The Diddly Bops. Tell me if it's the same for y'all, but y'all as a British person, that's kind of funky. But tell me if it's the same for all of you if you thought this episode came at like a later season of Victorious. In my mind, the Diddly Bops always happened in like season 2 or 3, not season 1. It feels like such an early season for this. Regardless, here we are. just add it there. It's happening. So, the premise of this episode, Sikowitz calls the kids, we know the main ones, everyone down here, minus Trina, he calls them all in after class. He's like, hey, stay behind, you're not in trouble, don't worry. So he's letting them know that the Wagafuffles, like a little renowned kids group in this Victorious world, have died in a plane crash. Tragic. All of them eliminated. But with some rain, there comes sunshine, and that sunshine is for the kids of Hollywood Arts minus Trina yet again, because this means they now can be employed too. Oh, so it's not Beck. Beck is not the only one that's employed. The rest of them are also employed now. The offer is for $1,000 for them to perform at this kids' party. Now, not to sound ungrateful, but we got to eat. Like, this economy, is $1,000 really paying much? Like, divide that by 6. It's like around $166 each. So it's not like they're making absolute bank on this performance, because Sikowitz makes it out like this is the deal of the century. Like, hey guys, you're going to get $1,000 for this. And yes, as like however old they are here, $166 each isn't the worst to make. But I would like to know how long they're performing for. And what were they going to pay the Wagafuffles? Because I also want to say that the person paying for the Wagafuffles was rich, so he could definitely up this offer. Rich people are stingy and eat the rich. Now, this one I want no one to ask no more, but we discover that Jade's grandpa is Voldemort. This is the episode though where we get the iconic, this smash hit, the one, the only, broken glass. Am I pointing? Wrong one. Broken glass. Yes, Robbie did something right this season and we're going to reward him for it, because Broken Glass is a bop. Certified bop. It went platinum. It was a #1 worldwide. Don't question me. So look, point to Robbie. It's iconic. Also, we should note that this is a first for Robbie. This is his first bop of the season. He's not going strong. Wow, a round of applause everyone. Robbie got a bop, not a flop. This is such like a new thing in this world. Robbie never really gets bops because he is a flop of a character. I'm so sorry. But that misogyny, be gone. The harassment, be gone. It needs to be eliminated. He should have been on the plane too. I'm kidding. Or am I? But during this whole moment, during the performance of Broken Glass, Andre's like, what? He gets a phone call. Ring, ring. Who is it? It's a music producer. Uh-huh. Andre over here. He's trying to get himself employed too. He's trying to get that record deal. He calls over Tori. He's like, listen here. And he's like, girlie, they might want to sign me. Wah! Another employed bestie almost. I'm so happy for Andre because if anyone on this wall deserves it, it's definitely Andre, because he writes hit after hit, and we will get to them, but we already have You're the Reason up there as one of his hits. And that's not the only one, besties, we have many more to come. Another key point of this episode, Jade has boobs, and it's a struggle for her to get her hamburger suit over them. Anyway, Kevin's kid, Kevin is the rich guy who wanted the Wagafuffles, and now he's had to order the Diddly Bops to come perform because they died. Remember, that was 5 seconds ago. Keep up, besties. But for some reason, Kevin has his kids' party at Hollywood Arts' Black Box Theatre. Like, the last place I want to have a party is at school, thank you very much. Does Kevin hate his child? Or is he even rich? Because I'm not so sure anymore. Because we know that renting out a space at school, one, do you even have to pay for that? And two, it's not going to be that expensive. Then we move on to yummy yummy in my tummy, yummy yummy. Woo, the crowd goes crazy. St. John's like, encore, and I can't blame him, because same. This was a masterpiece, and it only becomes better later, but we'll get there eventually. But that song had the kids bopping. If I've ever seen kids love a song so much, it's that song. And you know who wrote it? I'm going to give this man credit. He at least did the melody. I don't know about the lyrics, but I know he did the melody. Yummy, yummy, in my tummy, yummy, yummy. We return back to the halls of Hollywood Arts, and Lane's kid wants Tori's autograph because he saw her as the Diddly Bops. But then, oh no, how did he see her in the Diddly Bops? Turns out some little snitch in the audience filmed the whole ordeal and posted it on the internet. But also that child that did that is the public's hero, because now the world can dance to the bop. Yummy, yummy, in my tummy. Anyways though, because of this, Jade is upset and writes a bad word in the kid's little autograph book. I want to know what the bad word is. Right, who doesn't? I'm curious. Which one was it? Was it the S word? Was it the F word? Was it the C word? These are questions I will always live with and never know the answer to, very tragically, and I'll survive. I'll figure it out. I did want to point out though, at this point of the video's launch of the Diddly Bops performing Yummy Yummy in My Tummy, it only had 987 views. So it's like, it hadn't gone viral or anything, so it's not like a whole bunch of people had seen it, so them getting mad, I get it, it might be a bit embarrassing to see, and for some reason those small viewed videos always seem to find your schoolmates, but it hadn't reached like the world yet, so you know, I'd calm down a little. Remember the music producer that was gonna hire Andre? Well, he rocks on down to Hollywood Arts in his little car. By little car, I mean a big car. And he's here to talk shit about Andre's performance as Spaghetti. And he's like, my guy, this isn't really the label's vision. You know, this isn't what we want for an artist. And you know what I say to that? Flop behaviour. Also something else that's kind of flop behaviour and it's a little bit uncalled for is Jade rips Rex's arm out of his socket. But we're going to red flag her for that. Yes, Rex is awful in this show, but I believe in that instance it was kind of just out of nowhere and a pure fit of rage. And yes to the feminine anger and girl rage, and yes, get angry women, but this one I don't think it was it. So Jade, flop behaviour. I mean, see it however you want. Some of you might think that was the best thing she's ever done in this show, and you know what, I could also support that. Back though to that flop behaviour music producer. Yeah, the one that dissed Andre's performance as Spaghetti, which was very iconic because yummy yummy in my tummy. Well, Trina, my girly Trina, she chased that mansy down for 7 whole blocks. That's stamina. You see me on a treadmill for an hour, No, I've got nothing on her. We're going to award her for this as well because she is, as I said, an Olympian in the making. So this is a bop for Trina because that stamina, I have to really support it because she did all of that to try and secure a music deal, and that's a hustle I respect. I kind of like that so far these two guysies, who aren't even like the biggest main characters of this show, have like the most cards compared to anyone else on the board. Like, yes, go them. Bless Kat's heart, but she cannot read a room. No one here wants to be in the diddly bops. Like, no one's vibing with it. They're all like, I'm out, mate, yeah? Kat's all like, she's living her best life. She wants to do this forever. And she's booked them another gig. She said, get that money. The whole gang, not up for this? In their eyes? Nah, not doing that again. They can't have another snitch in the audience posting them on YouTube. But I'm going to give Kat a point for her enthusiasm because it's Kat. I love Kat. So Kat gets point diddly bobs for the enthusiasm. I think she's the only one that had enthusiasm for the diddly bobs. Say what you want about Kat, but she wasn't in this for the money. And I know you don't have to be in it for the money, but she truly was in it for the love of the diddly bobs. And I love that for her. Like, she's so adorable. The opposite of Kat, though, right now is Andre, because he is down in the dumps. He's so upset because this music producer was like, spaghetti sucks. He's down in the Black Box Theatre, in the Hollywood Arts. Black Box Theatre, one of our only other famous locations in this show. Can't diss on it. I do enjoy a little scene in the Black Box Theatre. Or do I? I don't know. We're like 11 episodes in. I don't know what I think anymore or feel. But this is where history was made. Oh, it's so good. See, I didn't really get it before when they said, like, ooh, to make the best art, you have to be in a dark place. No, they knew what they were saying. Andre is proof of that. Because this is the most down, sad, depressed I've ever seen Andre in the show, or at least in season 1. My God, did he write the bop of the century out of this? He comes back with the smash hit, Song to You. It's like my favourite song on the Victorious soundtrack. Don't come for me. If it's not yours, I don't want to hear it. Song to You deserves so much more respect. Song to You is the anthem of Victorious. Oh, it's too good. He really went and wrote that with like all his fury and fire. And he said, let me sprinkle that some talent. No, he dumped the whole bucket on it. Thank you very much. So we're going to give Andre a point for Song to You. I told you more songs were coming. I was not going to lie now, was I? Okay, that will not focus for the life of it. But Song to You. Before we get to that show-stopping performance though, the Diddly Bops are recast. Still with Kat though, she's still in it because I told you she was in it for the love of it and not for the money. Now we have Kat, Trina, St. John Sikowitz, and like some random guy that no one knows. I'm so sorry, bestie, but no one knew who you were. But good for you. I'm happy you got to be in this show and well done. The kids though at this show, they were bopping previously to the original lineup, but no, they were not having it with this lineup. They said, boo, this sucks. And if 4-year-olds said that to me, I'd probably cry. They called them fakes. They called them old flops. They said, we want the OGs, not these musty, crusty, dusty old farts. I may have embellished a little bit on what they said. Regardless, it gets violent, and the kids, they don't want this mess. They want the OGs, and they want their musical acts. Like, they're very defensive about who's their musical act. I'll tell you that much. Who cares about kids, though? When back to this man's Andre Harris, we're in the courtyard now, and you know where he is? Yeah, he's on the little rooftop thing they have where they perform all the time, and he's strumming that guitar, and he's like, here's my song to you. Why am I forgetting the words? But all that I can do is give my song to you. Yeah. Who would have guessed that such an amazing song could be written out of yummy yummy in my tummy? Don't come for me as well not knowing the lyrics, because if you put that song on right now, I could sing every single word, front to back, all the way around, on repeat, again and again for you. But right now, without it on, I'm empty. Every song Andre has written on this show has been a bop. I will always stand by him. He's never made a flop. Yes, that rhymed. Am I joining his songwriting team next? I'm kidding. I have no songwriting talent in my bones. And then there's another moment in this song though. And it's mother and father, Beck and Jade. They share a really sweet little moment where Beck pulls Jade in by like her chin. It sounds cuter than how I'm describing it. And like he gives her a little kiss. And I just think it's so romantic. He just pulls her in by her chin and then kisses her. Nah, shut up. They had their cute moments. I don't want to hear about them being problematic. But then, the amazingness doesn't stop there because the performance isn't over. No, Andre goes into the bridge. Tori as his backing singer though, she's flipping her head like there's a fly she needs to swat away. I can't defend her on this one. It looks like that, okay? I'm not wrong. At least Andre's there though. And oh, his runs, his little, run me over, sir. Oh, it's too good. Oh, the talent. Can never possess that. Like, I'll never have that in my body, but he does. Sadly, this show-stopping performance comes to an end, and my will to live dies with it. But at least Andre's will to live is maximised because remember that producer guy? Yeah, the flop. Not so much of a flop now. He saw that performance and he was like, this maybe is the vision we want. And he's like, hey, Andre, here's a second chance. And that's the end of episode 11, The Diddly Bops. One little note though about this episode. We never hear about Andre's record deal again. At least not in this season. It's just never mentioned again. I would have liked a follow-up because the most realistic person in this show to get a record deal is Andre. Because he can write so well. Here we go though. This is an edgy episode. Season 1. Episode 12. Kat's new boyfriend. This one weirdly wasn't on Paramount Plus. It just doesn't exist on there. They don't have it. It just goes episode 11 then 13. They completely skip episode 12. Don't know what that's about, but sort it out. So an edgy guy named Danny just strolls on into Hollywood Arts. He's very Beck-coded, but add more layers of douche. We quickly discover that he is Tori's ex. Ooh, the layers, they're building a foundation. They went to Tori's previous school together, that's how they know each other. If you wanted to keep up to date there, don't worry, I got you. We hear a squeal! Ah! Kat spotting her boyfriend. Who is it? Oh, it's Danny. Yeah, the douche Beck-coded guy. Jade's out here though eating it up because she sees the drama unfolding and she doesn't really like Tori, especially not at this point in the time. They start to slowly build more of a friendship, but this is not that time. She's eating it up, the fact that Tori's ex is Kat's new boyfriend and the fact that she's just jumped into his arms in front of Tori. The vibes are immaculately awkward. I would melt into a puddle if I was in this situation. I'd probably say something really inappropriate, okay, not inappropriate, but not in the right mood. I don't know, I'm that awkward person who's like, ha, so the rain. And it's just sunny outside. Apparently as well, all couples in Hollywood Arts just make out in the hallway. There's no school policy against PDA, and that hurts my soul. Sure, love people, love your loved one, but no, I don't want to see your PDA. I'm not a PDA person. I don't like to see it. Keep that behind closed doors, thank you. No, I tricked you. No, it's not Psychowitch's fit today, it's Trina's. Yep, she's got her feet out. And look, it's not that I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing Psychowitch's foot, that's not it. That's not what the big sigh is. It's just, I don't want to see anyone's feet, okay? But the last thing I want to see as well is a younger person's foot. Because it just feels a bit weird now when I look back and I'm like, oh, they were just out here really Quentin Tarantinoing their feet up on the camera. But they were minors. I don't know about Trina, but still, she was young. Yeah, it's really odd, this whole B-plot in this episode, because it just revolves around people touching up other people's feet. I didn't look into it when I was a child, but now, that's just weird. That is very odd. That's a very odd B-plot. It's not even really a plot, is it now? It's just people touching up other people's feet. It's also really weird that they spend so much time on it, the fact that this is a B-plot in the episode, and even the shots they have of the feet and the other kids in school massaging Trina's foot, as they're like, oh, it's so soft. Ugh. There is a little bit more, though, to the B-plot, and it's still to do with the feet, but it's how her feet are so soft, and they try and disguise it like that so they can get off with showing kids' feet. Basically, there's these fish that, eat away the dead skin cells on your feet, and that's what makes them so, soft. Now, we're going to add, sadly, 2 to that, because we saw Robbie's feet, And I don't know how I'm going about this, but I was just going every time I was offended for seeing a foot. So we're doing it again because they also did a close-up on Robbie's feet. I hate how in this episode we see nearly all of the main cast's feet. It just wasn't necessary, and it's something that upsets me. I did not want to see this. Out in the courtyard, we see the drama between Kat, Danny, and Tori escalating. It's simmering here. That's safe to say. It's simmering. Oh, I'm so proud of myself for that one. We see Tori is not as okay with Kat dating her ex as she said she was. She's really just... She's not having the best time seeing them canoodling and hee-hee-ha-heeing together. She looks so uncomfortable, I can't even describe it. Great acting on her part. But I also can't blame a girlie in this situation. Like, that's very awkward for someone, like, especially someone in your friend group to date your ex. But it's one of those awkward situations where they're not long-term friends and Kat didn't know, and this guy's from another school, so how could she have guessed? But still a very awkward situation that I would not want to be in. There's also a funny little moment where Kat makes Danny brownies and Tori's like, I made you brownies and you didn't even like them. Like, you don't like brownies. Turns out she's just a bad cook because Danny likes Kat's brownies, and a little bit awkward. It's kind of giving flashbacks to when Robbie said sing on key or like sing on pitch. They were all roasting Tori in these past couple episodes. She could not catch a break. We discover though that in this episode there's also this thing that the Hollywood Art School hosts called the Kickback, and it's like an after school dance thing with music and stuff, aka dancing. That's what I'm looking for, dancing. They do dancing. With this event comes one thing. Let me trigger your mind with this. I'm going to say 2 words, and then hopefully your memory jogs you back to this episode and what's about to happen. Not about to, we'll get to it, but the word is cheese fountain. Okay, let's let that simmer too, and we will revisit that. Back indoors, back in the hallway, no longer in the courtyard. This time it's not Trina's foot, it's Robbie's. And yes, again, a group of teen kids in that school are feeling up his feet, and they're like, oh wow, you've got such smooth feet. Oh, that's so normal. Teens love to touch each other's feet. Rightfully so. Andre's got his head screwed on straight because he asks Robbie, like, what's going on? He's questioning it. But then he's dragged down with the rest of them, and he starts to rub up on Robbie's foot too. We've lost them all to it, you know? Oh God. We get another close-up on Robbie's foot as well. And like, why? God, why? 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 I don't think this needed to exist. This B-plot did not have to happen. This time our victim is Andre. They caught my man. His bare feet all up in front of this camera. It's so messed up. I cannot stress that enough. It's just the weirdest B-plot. I hate it here so much. Someone save them. But thankfully, that is over. We're back to the kickback. The full moon is out. It's nighttime. It's dark. The sun has gone to bed. And the kickback is swinging in full force. Cheese fountain. Off it goes. Psychowitz, pretty sure Amandi's high because he's like giggling and howling like he's the Joker and Batman. When you think it couldn't get worse. There's another barefoot counter thing to add. This has got to be the biggest red flag of a Victorious episode I've ever seen. You know why. This count has gone up one too many times that I'm like for me to be comfortable with. During this kickback, there are teens rubbing up on Andre's foot. Our next victims are Beck and Jade. They come over to feel up Andre's foot. Again, same premise. They're all like, ooh, how is your foot so smooth? And he tells them about the fish. The cheese fountain is back in its glory. Tori has some nasty spirited behaviour. She's feeling extra petty today, I'll tell you that much. Danny had one too many of Kat's brownies and she's not having it. She sees Kat and Danny making out by the cheese fountain, and hey, maybe let's give Tori the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's also not a fan of PDA and she was trying to police it. She was like, stop, not on my watch. So a girlie cranked the cheese fountain up to 10 and let it like completely submerge Kat and Danny in it. But I think it mainly just caught Kat. Like, she took the worst of it. The cheese is all up in their business, so this has got to be a red card for Tori. This is not a good look. She gets cheese fountain cockblock. And I called this one the cheese fountain cockblock because that's literally what it is. It's quite funny. Hollywood Arts didn't need any chaperones that night because Tori was there. She was not going to let anyone do any PDA around her. I'm kidding, just for anyone that doesn't get it. I totally know that it's because of Kat kissing her ex that she did this. Thank you. Because of this nastiness, though, Tori runs off and hides. She can't take it that this spirited behaviour took over her. And Jade and Beck go a searching for her too. Thank God they've moved away from Andre's feet, but that's not the last of it for them, sadly. But it's so pathetic. We find Tori hiding in St. John's tent in the Black Box Theatre. Again, the Black Box Theatre. As pathetic as it was, though, I wish she stayed in that tent a bit longer, because the second Tori exits the theatre, Jade asks Beck if they want to go feel up Andre's foot again. Like, are you for real? Are you serious right now? This cannot be it. Who approved this script? We don't want this. No one wants this, huh? No one? Not sure about that one. Dan. Sorry, something in my throat. Tori apologises to Danny in the hallway. She apologises a little too well because her tongue's down his throat. I'm kidding, they're making out, but I don't know what's in the air that day. Tori's spirit not doing its best. And I hate this moment because everyone knows the golden rule is you don't make out with a friend's boyfriend, or just anyone's boyfriend for the matter. But it's so sad because Kat's so pure and sweet, and she's always trying to be the best friend she can be, and she catches Tori smacking up on her man, and she cries. And my heart, it hurt for a girlie. I felt so bad for her. She's so adorable. She did not deserve this. The disrespect was potent. This budget Beck man isn't worth all these tears. As Miss Ariana Grande said, no tears left to cry. They ruined her day, and for that, another red card for Tori. This time, the card is called best friend's boyfriend. I popped off with that one. Make that too. We're back to Dan's fantasy plot. Beck and Jade are here with their bare-ass feet out. They really, again, caught the entire cast with this plot and this episode, and it's so weird. It gets even worse. Not only do we have close-ups on their feet, but they start moaning. Jade and Beck start moaning at the fish biting their feet. Someone who isn't moaning, though, is Tori and Kat. Tori drags Kat into the janitor's closet. She kidnaps her. She tells Kat that if she'd seen Kat doing what Kat had seen Tori doing with her boyfriend, she would have punched her in the face. And Kat doesn't even have to hear it twice. She clocks Tori right in the face. Icon behaviour. I condone violence. She broke Tori's nose, and for that, girl boss. Especially in that moment. So punching Tori, bop. This makes me so sad though, because Kat deserves so much better, and it's a hill I will die on. I hate how much they infantilized her in the upcoming seasons. It sucks. Nothing we can do about it, but it sucks. Because of breaking Tori's nose, Kat then rushes Tori off to the hospital. Turns out though, they aren't the only ones there. No. Remember everyone that had their feet out in this episode? Yeah, they're all there too. Turns out the fish made them ill. They shouldn't have been having those fish sucking up on their feet. Because of this scene though, we have to add to the foot counter. I might just add it once, or however many feet I spot in the scene. But I might just do one because it's just a flash of everyone's feet. I'm so glad though this episode ends here, because I can't take seeing their feet for one moment longer. It was never necessary. It's such an odd thing to think of, let alone put on paper and then film and think it's okay. Again, I know I said the episode ends here, but the episode also ends with the grown-ass adults in that hospital, the doctors feeling up these kids' feet, and well, let's just move on to the next episode. I'm so tired of this one. Speaking of weird, we have season 1 episode 13, Sleepover at Psychowitz's. By this point, you should all know if it's got Psychowitz, it's also got this. The lesson in today's class is method acting. Everyone in class thinks method acting's dumb, and you know what, they were onto something. My manzy Robert Pattinson said, I think it was him, that you never see someone method acting as a nice guy. So true, bestie. But relating it back to the title, Sleepover at Psychowitz's, totally normal to sleep over at your teacher's house, right? Well, that's the concept of the episode, at least. Realistically, Amanzi should have been fired for this. Like, this is breaking so many rules, regulations, and probably laws. Like, it's... okay. Psychowitz's sleepover challenge goes like this. Everyone must arrive Friday at 7 p.m. at Psychowitz's house, and they must stay in character until Saturday morning. If they break character, they are removed from the villa. It's not a villa, but it sounds nicer. Whilst Psychowitz is laying down, like, the ground rules for his little sleepover, Rex, being Rex, harasses women, so he's all like, oh, Tori should make out with me. But then guess what? She says reverse Uno and she does it. And then he insists he needs to be taken home, like, he gets all weird. And look, again, you may think I've got a really dirty mind that's in the gutter and that I need to get it cleaned. You might be right, but it's also Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider, and just after the episode we just discussed, am I so wrong to think that something was maybe happening downstairs that he was referring to? That's why he needed to go home? Call me crazy. I don't mind. Okay, now we can go over everyone's method acting concept idea. Everyone was tasked with giving each other a character to play. And it was only the main cast attending the sleepover. No one else in this class. It was only Tori, Jade, Beck, Andre, Kat, Robbie. Yes, Kat's playing an annoying 1980s stand-up comedian. Robbie is playing a motivational speaker that has weak and wobbly legs. Beck will be an Englishman who has a really hard to understand accent, and he's always invading people's personal spaces. Sounds like me. I'm kidding. I think you can understand everything I'm saying, and I don't like to stand next to people. I don't know why I said that was me. I'm a pathological liar. Tori is a cop. Oh, haha, you know what? Whoever thought of that wasn't that creative. Or they thought, your dad's a cop. Yeah, they weren't that creative. They said, oh, daddy's a cop. So are you. But she's a cop who's obsessed with Raisin Bran and wears too much lipstick. Sounds like Miranda Sings who. Kidding, we don't relate Miranda Sings to anything. That lady sucks. Tori kind of popped off with Jade's character because it really would be method acting for Jade. She says to Jade that she needs to be a sweet and innocent farm girl who never gets annoyed at anything. But speaking of iconic ideas, Tori's not the only one. Jade tells Andre he has just finished running a marathon, but he's also 9 months pregnant. Her mind. Everyone eventually arrives at Psychowitz's house. Jade and Beck, mother and father, they arrive together. The first to flop, the first to break character at this sleepover is Robbie, and rightfully so, because look at how many red flags he has. Like, he's flopped so much this show, I'm not surprised he was the first to flop at this sleepover. But basically, he flops, but in, I guess, a really good way. Like, he breaks character because Psychowitz falls through a window, and then he's like, haha, planned, just kidding. I don't think Amanzi planned that, he's just embarrassed he fell through a window. Either way, Robbie broke character because of it, because he was actually concerned about Psychowitz. Like, how dare he be concerned? Jade's innocent farm girl character could be questioned, like her performance could be questioned, because when she sees Tori and Beck's characters kind of flirting, kind of getting a little cozy, her threats aren't so innocent, and she's just let away with it. Like, she gets away with it, but those weren't some innocent farm girl threats. Let's play a game. Who's the next to break character? Who is it? Who? It's Kat. Kat breaks character next. I know you got it right, besties. I know at least 3 of you got that one right. Come on. She ran off so she could go out on a date with Psychowitz's nephew, and honestly, good for her. He's a good-looking guy. No, looks don't always matter, but hey, it's a show, and he looks great. So I hope she had a great time. And especially after her previous episode, Kat deserves this, okay? Tori was spraying cheese on her and kissing her boyfriend. We get another very questionable line in this show. You may think I'm doing too much. So Tori says, in regards to Psychowitz's nephew, and to think I almost let that boy eat my Raisin Bran. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe this actually is too much this time. Maybe this sentence has nothing dirty about it. But it's Nickelodeon. I'm not doing enough. Like, trust me. Trust me, there were sick minds behind the scenes. B plot though, we haven't talked about the B plot for this one. Holly and David are celebrating their anniversary at home. They're just at home chilling, and honestly, I love that for them. That's so adorable. I think, though, this anniversary was heading somewhere pretty intimate. That was before their date becomes interrupted by Robbie. And this is one of the only instances where I feel bad for David and Holly. Like, they suck most of the time, but this time I just kind of felt bad for them. Like, let these parents get it on. They probably rarely ever get the chance. Talking of sabotage, though, and ruining things, much later in the evening, it's probably like around 11 p.m, Andre's grandma Harris, comes barging into Sykowitz's residence, and she's so confused that a pregnant marathon runner is in the shape of her grandson. It's so sad though that she did sabotage Andre's performance as a pregnant marathon runner, because he deserved better. Yeah, okay, he did. I'll say it. He deserved better. His performance, 10 out of 10, could have won an Oscar. He could have been it's Andre, okay? Don't doubt him. So he's getting a bop for his performance as a pregnant marathon runner. This card is called Pregnancy Scare. I love that. Had too many of those myself. Also wanted to say, as of right now, Andre's doing so well. He's the only character on this board who does not have a flop. So true, bestie. So right. More sabotage is on the way, though, because Sykowitz, more like Psycho-Witz, asks Jade to go and get the tray of food that just came out of the oven. May I remind you, it just came out of the oven and he's asking her to go and grab it? Yeah, only as her hand touched the tray does Sykowitz then remember to warn her, it's hot, it just came out of the oven. By then it's too late. Her hands are sizzling, they're flaming, they're cooking. He sabotaged her. Sabotage. Man is so lucky I can't red card him. He's so lucky he's a side character up here and not one of the main cast that are getting cards for flops and bops, because best believe that would have been a flop. That would have been a double flop. Even though Jade's hand starts to blister, she remains in character despite the sabotage, and she removes herself from the villa, and for that, point Jade. Girl, boss, girl, slay. She said, let's not let anything ruin my day. Ooh, I'm a poet. This card was named Keeping It Cool, because she kept it cool under that pressure. Back at the Vega residence though, I'm so tempted to red flag Robbie for this, because not only does he interrupt their anniversary, he also texts Kat to come over and join too, as if it's his house. The disrespect. It's so out of pocket. Let them hang out on their own, in their own house. Thank you. I just want them to get it on, not because I'm a creep, but because marriage lives up here and dies down here. It's just a known thing. So, you know what? Red flag for Robbie. It's happening. Okay, he's already got so many. Why not add another flop? Interrupting Vega anniversary. Flop of the century, Robbie. It's a little bit later in the night now, and Sykowitz, he's putting on this act. I don't know if it's an act or if he actually was fed up, but he no longer really wants to be part of this sleepover. He kind of just wants to go to bed. Whilst he could have just been a tired old man, it also could have been a ploy to hurry things along, or just to try and get one of them to break character. But I tell you, I don't like Dan Schneider. I mean it so much, because he stuck his name into the script. Jail. Immediately send him to jail. Please. I'm begging at this point. Did you see the previous episode of All the Feet? Send him to jail. Oh, I hate that his name was in it. It was a jump scare. It was the most horrifying thing I've heard in something that wasn't a horror movie. It's even scarier than sound effects in horror movies, hearing that name. Speaking of tired old farts, David and Holly, they're tired of everyone coming to their house and they've gone upstairs to bed, I presume. I don't think they're in the mood to get it on anymore. Kind of tragic for them. They may as well head upstairs. Robbie, Kat, and Sykowitz's nephew have taken up their space downstairs. The night follows on though, and it turns out we're on to Saturday morning. It's quite early in the morning. Tori and Beck are the only ones in Sykowitz's residence. Beck breaks character. He breaks character next. And you know what? The next line, I just know the writers were clapping themselves on the back for this. They were probably doing a little award ceremony in the writer's room as they wrote this. Tori shouts, I am a police officer and I am victorious. Yes, they did the whole cliche. They said, we're going to sneak this show's name into the script. And you know what? I condone it. I'm a sucker for that. I love it when people sneak the show's name into the script. I was waiting for This Is Us to do it for the longest time. So Tori won the challenge. Didn't really win anything though. There was no prize to be won, just pride. But I'll take it. I'm competitive. For me, could have done that. But I also would have liked a prize. Like, ooh, a voucher to a restaurant. Especially if I'm giving up my Friday night. This next episode though, episode 14, a little bit juicier. It's The Wood. Basic premise, reality TV shows up at Hollywood Arts and they're ready to spill the tea about the school. More specifically, they're from a show called The Wood, hence the title being The Wood. Lane is kind of a confirmed dumbass in this episode though, because he is the one that's showing this reality TV crew around the school. And you know what? I don't know what he expected when he had a reality TV crew show up to Hollywood Arts. I can promise you this man's never seen an episode of reality TV because he seems so shocked in this episode as to what unfolds. Auditions for The Wood are being held in the Black Box Theatre where you best bet this main cast is, including Trina this time. Yes, girly. I'll give Beck his credit here. Yes, he gives us unbothered icon energy all the time because he never has like an ounce of energy. He's just there. But Beck's the only smart pooter because he's hesitant about being on a reality show because he wants to be a serious actor. You know what? I respect that. I get that. You don't want like the whole judgment of being on a reality TV star because there is a lot that comes with it. There's a lot of weight and a lot of judgment. During the audition process though, we get a callback to episode 12, I believe. Yeah, episode 12, Kat's new boyfriend, where Tori recalls the worst thing she's ever done and she references the cheese fountain cock block being the worst thing she's ever done. If that's the worst thing you've ever done, you're not doing too bad in life, to be fair. Like, woo woo. That was for you, Marilyn. Let me just say this though, the reality TV show casting agents were beyond dumb. Because the way they didn't snatch up Trina immediately is beyond me. How do you see Trina and not think reality TV gold, reality TV star? Like, she's going to be bringing in those views without any doubt in my mind. She was made for reality TV and they were dumb enough to not cast her? She is such reality TV star potential and they missed out. They don't deserve to have a TV show after that flop. I love this. Robbie and Rex, entirely dismissed. I think Robbie gets out one whole sentence and they're like, no, move on. Kyle, who is our dumb pooter casting agent, he hires everyone but Trina, Kat and Robbie. Kat is just MIA in this episode, so it's like nothing against her, but she's just not cast. Once again, though, they are so stupid. Kyle, I'm looking right at you, you dumb pooter, because the second they don't cast Trina, we go to the next scene. Guess what she's doing? Reality TV star goldmine here. Festus, sadly he's not up here because I'm stupid. She almost eliminates Festus by pulling him out of his food truck. How is that not... The reality TV show though focus on someone who's a little bit more boring. Tori. Sorry Tori, but it's true. They're recording her in her house. She's on the phone to her Aunt Sonia and she's a serious case of the hiccups. Remember that, it's useful, you need to know that for the future. B-plot, we love a good B-plot. Robbie and Trina are in Lane's guidance counsellor office, and again, questionable scenes, they're gonna happen, this is Nickelodeon. Robbie and Trina are having some sort of argument, disagreement, they're just not happy with each other, and Lane gets them to shut up. Oh god, I nearly fell. Lane gets them to shut up by like squirting his hand cream on them. It's white hand cream, goes all over like their faces, and it just looks weird, okay? The shot looks extremely questionable, and you cannot tell me that it didn't come from Dan Schneider's sick and twisted mind. Continuing with Trina and Robbie though, their punishment for almost eliminating Festus is they have to take over his food truck together and they have to like work in there together and make orders and everything. Whilst working in the food truck, Beck and Andre see the mess that Robbie and Trina have created and that they can barely handle any orders, so they decide to order a pizza instead. The film crew come over, they start to film Beck. They're like, yeah, we just want to get some footage because, oh, you ordering pizza is so interesting. So now they filmed 2 phone calls. Beck and Tori's. Wonder if that's going to come back. You know who is going to come back? Trina with some more drama. She is in another fight with Robbie and it's going all around the courtyard. Like they're just smacking it down. And you're telling me the reality TV crew didn't want a bite of that? Do they even know what reality TV is? Clearly not. Do they not want a successful show is what I'm asking. And I don't understand how they were there to witness Trina and Robbie's fight and they couldn't have cared less. Like, they showed no ounce of interest in it. Whereas as a reality TV show, that should have been their priority. Because they look for that later in the episode. They want fights. You could get organic fights right there. The gang get a little preview of the episode to come of the reality TV show before I think it officially airs. And ooh, did they stir up a plot for this show. They make it look as if Beck is tired of his relationship with Jade, and then they stitch a phone call together. Remember the phone calls they recorded of Beck and Tori separately? Yeah, they stitched those two together to make it look like they were talking to each other all along. And they have Tori suspiciously asking on the phone, "Do you want me to rub your belly?" It's not looking good. Easy to say, Jade is definitely not happy with this at all. Can't blame her, but also it's reality TV and I think you should have like your wits about you and realise that this is probably all very fake. But because of this, Jade is ready to eliminate Tori and we know Tori isn't winning in a fight against Jade. So luckily the boysies split them up ASAP. You know who might win a fight against Jade though? Shelby Marks? Maybe. Roll on to the next day though. Remember when I said that it's reality TV and they should be aware of it? Well, they are dumbfounded to find out that reality TV is fake when the producers confirm with them reality TV is indeed fake and what they stitched between Tori and Beck was fake. Who would have guessed? Like, oh my days, they are all so naive. It's honestly, it's just amazing to see. And this gets to me, but yeah, whatever. The TV crew asked Jade and Tori to recreate their fight that they previously had the night before due to this misunderstanding with the stitched phone call. And Tori and Jade do this without hesitation. We really see the skills that they had together in episode 3 with the stage fighting come in handy because they're blocking punches, they're throwing them, they're making it look so real. And you know what? Character growth. They're fighting together, not against each other, and we love to see it in this household. Yes. Okay, that's what I want to see. But because of this, I do want to scream into the void again because Trina, she's being left out. My girlie, she would have given them an organic fight. May I repeat? An organic fight. It would have been real. Wouldn't have had to be, like, scripted. She would have done it for them right then and there. She would never have to be asked to do a fight because she would just create one. Speaking of stage fights, Beck and Andre are the next to stage a fight. Serious actor my ass. Like, shut up. Shut up. And, Team Jory? Or is it Team... Is it Team? What would be their, like, ship name? Not even ship name, but Tori and Jade, what is it? Jory? Tade? Regardless, they want to one-up Beck and Andre and do an even bigger fight on a bigger scale. They want to look impressive, okay? They want to do more than their little squabble that Beck and Andre had, okay? That was lame. The girlies can do more. So the girlies, they put their minds together and they come up with a plan that they're going to trash the janitor's car. But really, it's just a car from a junkyard because they're not actually baddies. They're not unhinged, but they want to look like it on camera. They head out to the parking lot and assume, as you would, I guess, they see like the trashiest looking car. They said, peasant, that can't be someone's car. And they go and trash it immediately. The crew shows up. Tori and Jade go ham on this car. I mean, letting out all of that rage. They're going for it. There's a whole commotion. Turns out the car is Festus's. Remember the guy that Trina pulled out of the food truck and now they're having to do his food truck because they almost eliminated him? Mandy did not catch a break this episode. He was not having the best time. Lane does something for once. He threatens a TV crew with a golf club. It's kind of goofy. He's like, oh, you want to see me? You want to see me with this golf club? I'm an old man. They leave. The TV crew leaves. They take his threat seriously because they've never seen drama in their life. Not real drama. Him with the golf club was too much. Tori and Jade, because of eliminating Festus's car, they wheelbarrow the man back home whilst singing to him in Spanish, Forever Baby, the song that was Rex's favourite on his deathbed. And yeah, they're bilingual queens, what can I say? The next episode, not my fave, babes, not my fave. Wouldn't be for me. Season 1, episode 15, The Great Ping Pong Scam. Kat's back. She's no longer MIA. She's no longer calling in sick to school. She is flourishing. She's doing her best. And she's touching up Rex's foot. Not a bare foot though. So, take what I can get. So I'll take it as a win. Tori is kind of left to feel like a loner after no one wants to hang out with her after school because they all have the ping pong club, like the ping pong team. And Tori's like, suspicious. A club without me? Can't be right. Also in this scene though, Tori is chewing gum that St. John made, and yes, support small businesses, but also, would you really trust anything that St. John makes? Because the answer should be no. Tori wants to try out for the ping pong team because of all of her besties being in the group and her not being included. I mean, sure, I'd feel left out too. That would kind of suck. The only issue here though is the team captain is Jade, and we know one thing about Jade, she's not going to let Tori have anything easily. Jade kind of just ignores Tori like she's a fly on the wall, and she's pink and blue stripes in this episode in her hair. And I'm in love. Always have been, always will. But whilst Jade is fiery, feisty, and fierce, Tori is also very, not stubborn, I don't like that word. She is very persistent. She knows what she wants, and that's the ping pong team in this episode. So she goes out, she goes to try out for them because there's like a little rule that says everyone in the school must be allowed to try out for a team. Like, they can't be told they can't try out, they must be allowed to try out. Turns out this girl is like a ping pong champion because she's out here beating every single one of them at this ping pong game, and she's not even breaking a sweat. She slays the entire team is what I'm saying. They really stood no chance, and you'd think they'd try and make their scam a little more legit, because that's what the ping pong team is. It's a scam. Spoiler. All in all, it doesn't matter though, because Jade informs Tori that she didn't make the cut. Can't sit with us, bestie. You didn't make it. Not in this team. She's allowed to try out. That is true. Jade has to let Tori try out, but she doesn't have to let Tori in the club. That's another rule there, you know? So Tori's not in. Again, Tori being Tori, not gonna let this go. She kidnaps St. John in the janitor's closet. He thinks this is going somewhere else altogether. He's a major simp for Tori, or any living, breathing girl for the matter of fact. And he does as Tori demands in this janitor's closet and makes her a disguise, because that's what she wants, to sneak into the ping pong club. You know what my guy builds her though? He builds her a whole ass vending machine disguise. If I could give him a point, I would, but I'd also give him a flop for being a simp. But also, like spend your evenings doing something else, please, for yourself. I want to know where he got the funding for this machine, because it looks so legit. Like, it even takes money, I'm pretty sure. Or it doesn't, but it does something, like it has functions. So Tori's little vending machine, it's snuck into the back of their little ping pong game room, in their club room, may I say. Little do they know that she's in there watching them as they play a game of Twister. It's a very fun party game. One would recommend. I definitely would. I love a game of Twister. I haven't played it in about 15 years, but I do enjoy it. Here comes another bop though, because whilst playing Twister, Robbie, he gets a little uncomfortable and he's like, ooh, I've pulled a muscle. Jade says the iconic line, "You can't pull what you don't have." She did not have to do him that dirty. She did not have to go that hard, because that's so rude, and I would cry and shrivel up into the little shrimp I am if someone said that to me. So, yeah. You can't pull what you don't have. Point, Jade. It's so poetic, so beautiful. Love of my life. Jade, Beck and Andre start to beat up on Tori's disguise though, as it ate one of their dollars, and Tori's just trying to take money at this point. But all of a sudden they hear a scream. What? Vending machines don't do that. Yep, they're right. Turns out Tori's disguise has been sussed. They realise Tori is hiding in their room. We're giving another red card. We're giving another flop to Robbie, as he suggests, because of Tori hiding in the vending machine, they should murder her for witnessing their ping pong club. Technically, Rex suggests this, but Rex is just an addition to Robbie. Like, Robbie uses Rex to say some out-of-pocket stuff. Tori finally gets what she wants though, and Andre kind of just confesses to her. He really comes out and says that the ping pong team is just a scam, it's not real. During this whole thing though, we see a flashback of how like the ping pong team formed. I would say I like how this was done, because whilst Andre's telling Tori what happened in the flashback, like in the past, we see them, and even if Jade's talking in this flashback, we'll still hear Andre's voice because he's telling us what happened in the past. And I like that little detail. I don't know if it made sense to you guys, but I hope it did. I just like how they handled the flashback and the storytelling of it. But basically this is why they formed it. Kat went to a fancy restaurant. All of them wanted to go, but it was too expensive for them. They then realised that if they formed a team, like a little club at school, they would get funding. Jade says girl boss and scam boss, as she remembered that every sports team in Hollywood Arts gets like a budget of $1,500. And that's minimum, that's not even maximum. Like, what is this school rolling out? I want to know. Therefore, though, because of this, they form the ping pong team, and Sikowitz is also a part of this. He's on board because he also wants to go to the restaurant. Girl slay. Tori eventually joins the team. I mean, she knows too much now. She has to join them, otherwise she's getting eliminated, clearly. And they all head off to another one of their ping pong tournaments, aka the restaurant. The expensive restaurant they couldn't afford but now can with the funding. I'm surprised that this fancy-ass restaurant let Tori in with her ping pong uniform, because I know some fancy places are very fussy with what you wear. In the restaurant, they're all sitting down having a lovely meal. So far, I'm guessing it was at an expensive but reasonable price. That wasn't until Robbie decides he really likes this little dip thing he's got going on the table, and so he goes over to the waitress and is all like, can I get a really large bowl of this? And she's all like, you mean caviar? And then Robbie's like, yeah, I want a big bowl of it, not knowing that that's some expensive ass shit. I didn't at 5 either, so it's fine. The check comes and the whole meal now costs $1,300. Guess how much the caviar cost? $600. I would faint if one thing, especially like something like a dip, costs $600. I don't know if it's a dip, but it's some fancy thing that looks like little shells. Well, little eggs. I would red flag Robbie for this one now, but also I don't think it's out of pocket to like not have known that was going to cost that much. Like, who in their right mind thinks something's going to cost that much? Not me. Can't blame him for that one. Sadly, I'm kidding, Robbie gets a free pass there. Like the absent teacher he is, though, Sikowitz leaves the kids to fend for themselves, whilst like they're all squabbling over the fact that this costs so much and like they're blaming Robbie and just everyone's kind of going at each other's necks. He says, I'm gonna remove myself from this situation, and he goes out the back door. I get it, confrontation's not my favourite either, but as the adult, should have stayed. Whilst this is going on for our little Hollywood arts gang, there's a little bit of tension in the restaurant as there's no live music. And the customers wanted live music, because that's what they thought they were going to get in this fancy-ass restaurant. Of course, this doesn't slide by Tori one bit. She realises it's time to suit up. Her little ping pong uniform, not going to do it. You know what does do it? Jade's dress. I'm going to give Jade a point for giving Tori her dress. It was a really nice dress. It looked great on Jade. It also looks great on Tori. And I just think, you know what? Girl boss. Girls supporting girls. I love that she gave Tori her dress. With Andre on the piano and mic'd up, you know we're getting another bop. Tell Me That You Love Me. Whilst slower for Victorious, still slaps hard, still goes hard, still a hit. I love it so much. I think it's definitely an underrated Victorious song. And you know what? Of course, Andre's getting a point for Tell Me That You Love Me. It slaps, it goes hard. I already said it, but Jade's dress and tights do look so good on Tori. Like, it's such a serve. It's so good. 10 out of 10. With that, though, the episode comes to a close. I'm guessing they paid the check by performing. Sorry. And, upon reflection, I never really rewatched this episode, but I think I would go to rewatch it now after seeing it again and recapping it. It was actually a solid episode, and I do really appreciate it now. We are now on to episode 16, Walk Star. End to the episode, Tori almost drops her binder. And you know what? I think a little bit of Victorious justice creeps up on there, and I think it was just a blooper. I love that. I love when I catch a blooper that's stuck in the show. It's my favourite thing. In this episode, Jade's gone missing. She's MIA because she's upset that the school thinks her play that she wants to put on is too dark and scary and creepy and disturbing and weird. They're probably right. Although maybe I'm dark and depressed myself, but the general synopsis of the play was a girl falls down in a well and drowns in her own tears, and hear me out, I don't think it's as dark and disturbing as the school was saying it was. I think it was a masterpiece in the making, a visionary's vision. And you know when I said Jade was missing? Well, that's a debatable topic, because I don't think they were looking hard enough for her. Turns out she was in the janitor's closet. Who would have guessed? These kids spend half the show there. I don't know what's up with it, but go you besties. In the janitor's closet though, Jade must be strong, so strong and hench, because she cuts up like the whole janitor's trash can, like the bin. It's not a can, it's a bin, it's a plastic bin with a pair of scissors. And I say impressive. Like, it looked like strong plastic and she just cut it up. And I know that kind of hurt, like your fingers. In the janitor's closet though, we also learned that Jade needs $3,000 to put on her play. And good old Tori's like, I got you. I'll help you get the funding for this. Like, we're gonna find someone, don't you worry. She's like, shouldn't be that hard to find someone to give us the money. Hello. Hello, my bestie. You wanna see my phone? Okay, you sit on my foot. Tori is all like, no worries, it shouldn't be hard to find someone to give you $3,000 for your play. Miss Gurley, I know you live in the Hollywood Hills, but who has $3,000 to spare? New set alert. We finally get a new set. We're over halfway into the season and we finally get a new set. They are now in a Chinese restaurant. It doesn't last for long though, this set, but it's for the episode, and you know what? I appreciate the use of their budget. There's a really dark joke in this episode and they just let it slide by, and it slid over my head when I was younger. Now that I'm older, I get it and how dark and depressing it is, and they thought Jade's play was dark. This joke is dark. Andre and Robbie are sat at a table and they've just read their fortune cookies, and Robbie's fortune cookie says, and I quote, "I'm being held hostage in a Chinese cookie factory." Cue laugh track. They laugh like nothing happened. That's so dark, because that actually happened once as well, didn't it? Recently. Remember someone left an SOS note from a factory? That was someone's emergency SOS and they just played a laugh track over it. It was so messed up when I look back. Never mind that was Andre's cookie, not Robbie's, because Robbie's cookie tells him that he's never going to find love, and maybe they were onto something, because look at that, lit up like a Christmas tree. Cue in Mrs. Lee's first appearance of the show. She comes back bigger than ever in the next seasons at, I forgot what it's called, but the sushi restaurant. I love that set. We find out though that her daughter auditioned for Hollywood Arts, but she never got in because Girlie's tone deaf. What can I say? Mrs. Lee tells us that they said that her daughter was talentless and irritating. And you know what? They were on something, because we hear her sing later and it's bad. During this conversation with Mrs. Lee though, Tori sneakily, but not so sneakily, slides in the fact that they need $3,000 to produce a play. And guess what? Mrs. Lee's all up for giving the money over. She's like, yeah, I've got it. You can take it. Girlie, that's $3,000. But anyway, she's like, oh, I'm a theatre fan. I can give you the money. In this restaurant, though, we also pan over to Mrs. Lee's Celebrity Wall of Fame. And you know who sneaks himself up on there again? You know who sneaks their musty face onto there? Public enemy number one, Dan Schneider. He's got himself next to Angelina Jolie too. Criminal. The audacity that man has to sneak himself up on a wall with Angelina Jolie. His ego knows no bounds. Tori, though, however, is gonna get a flop card for this, because she makes fun of the fact that Robbie uses male makeup, and she blasts him on the slap for it, because, girlie, you're so wrong for this. 1, makeup has no gender. 2, anyone can wear makeup if they want to. So, red card for Tori. Oh, I didn't realise I also was supposed to give her a little card, a bop for Tell Me That You Love Me. So there's that too. But she's getting a flop in this for the male makeup comment. Not having it. Thank you. Mrs. Lee arrives in the theatre that she has now paid for Jade to use for her play. Only thing is, she has a couple of notes about Jade's play, and Jade's not too happy about this. And I mean, as annoying as Mrs. Lee is about these changes and as stupid as they are, the lady is giving them $3,000 to put this on, so I mean, you could hear her out just a little bit. Funny though, Mrs. Lee also drops the bombshell that her daughter will be cast in the play. It is happening, even though she can't sing for her life. Her poor daughter though, if she needs help, she can blink twice. I'm so serious. In this play, the lead in Jade's play is Kat. Love that for her, because we're never going to see that again, because of the infantilization of Kat. It's so unfair, because doing this recap of Victorious, I realised how much I loved Kat's character in season 1 and how much I'd forgotten about her in season 1 and the way they showed her and how great her character was. And it just feels like she's a joke in the later season, and it is such a waste of a character. Guess where we're going next though? Just guess. Throw a wild guess out there, you're probably going to be right. We're back to the janitor's closet. Tori and Jade share a moment where Jade opens up to Tori. We're seeing some growth here. She opens up to Tori about her father, and she says, he's going to be attending the play. And she lets us know that this is why she's been so high-strung about Mrs. Lee making these changes to her play, because her father's going to be attending, and he doesn't believe in any of her passions. Jade, basically his daddy issues is what we've learned. I'm sorry, I'm not red carding her for the daddy issues, but I'm gonna red card her for being so ungrateful in this moment, because she just kind of completely dismisses the fact that Tori kind of went out of her way to help Jade secure this bag. So she's going to be getting a red card for this. It's just not on. Like, you guys aren't even the besties or best of friends, and yet Tori went out of her way to do this for you, to secure you $3,000, and she's kind of ungrateful about it in the moment. I get it, she's got daddy issues, but still. In regards to Jade's issue with Mrs. Lee making too many changes to her play, Kat suggests they find a way to distract Mrs. Lee for the one night that she'll be attending, it's also a one night only play, I think it was only one night. Regardless, Mrs. Lee was only going to be showing up to one night of the play if it had more than one. But basically, Kat had big brains back in the day. Andre hops onto this and he's like, let me put pen to paper with this idea. And then he suggests that to distract Mrs. Lee, they should have a fake celebrity enter her restaurant, because due to her celebrity wall of fame, they understand that she likes to see celebrities, like she's a fan of celebrities, and she will stay if there's one in her restaurant. They cast Trina as the role of the fake celebrity, and look, let's not lie, she was born for this opportunity. The reality TV people missed out on her, but the gang, they're not stupid like this. They know Trina is born for these kind of roles. I will forever have beef with those producers of that reality show. It's opening night of the play and Jade's dad arrives. Daddy issues are very present here because she is stressed. Like, I've never seen Jade so stressed in my life. Only girlies with daddy issues will understand that kind of stress. Back at the restaurant though, at Mrs. Lee's restaurant, Trina arrives as Jackie Bonet, and we're going to give her a bop of a card for this. She's getting a bop for Jackie Bonet because it really is a performance of the centuries, of the generations, and I love it for her. Andre is also present at the restaurant and he's posing as Trina's bodyguard. I think this is an iconic duo. Robbie and Beck are there to sell it. They come at Trina rushing at her like, oh my god, I can't believe it's Jackie Bonet. Like, oh my goodness, it's Jackie Bonet. The only unconvincing part about this is, even though we've got Beck and Robbie screaming at the top of their lungs about Jackie Bonet being in the restaurant, no one else in the restaurant is moving, like no one else cares, and to me that would signify like, oh, they're not that famous then. Beck is kind of smooth for this though, because he tells Mrs. Lee to like keep her there longer. He says, Jackie Bonet will only take a picture with you after she's had her meal. Like, this is a known thing that Jackie Bonet does. And then Beck lays it on thick because he says, I've heard she never eats at the same restaurant twice. So Mrs. Lee now is like all stressed because she's like, this is my only chance to get a picture with the Jackie Bonet, and they'd be correct. She's only going to eat there once. And we never see the restaurant again, to be fair. However, Jackie Bonet takes a little too long with her meal and Mrs. Lee is having none of it. She is fed up. Like, she's like, Jackie's taking too long. I want to go see this play. I love theatre, remember, kids? But as Jackie Bonet, Trina catches on to the fact that Mrs. Lee is trying to leave, they can't have that. They're not having it. So, Trina as Jackie pretends to have heart trouble and collapses. Mrs. Lee is ruthless though, as she couldn't care less that a potential customer was basically dying in our restaurant. Instead, she grabs her camera and finally gets her photo with the celebrity Jackie Bonet, even as she's like having a heart attack lying on the floor. Her staff then ask her like what to do with Jackie, because to them it's like, oh, she's dying, she's becoming a dead body in this restaurant, or like she's just collapsed. And Mrs. Lee says, just take her out the back. She's definitely done this before. Like, girl, do we need to call the police? I think we do. Back at the theatre though, Tori and Jade seriously need to take 10 steps back. They're like on stage where they're standing in this theatre. It stresses me out a lot and I didn't like seeing it. Like, you could constantly see Tori and Jade just in the curtain wing, just standing there. Go away. You're not on stage. Be gone. It would have been so distracting to me if I was an audience member and I kept seeing them like poking their heads around. They didn't have to poke their heads around. They were there. They were on stage basically. In Jade's play, we see Kat die. And no one really moves in the audience. There's a few little sniffles and tears and tissue grabs, but I mean, the extras probably weren't paid enough to care that much. Remember the daddy issues though, because everything comes back to daddy issues. Well, the end of the play, after you think Kat died, her father in the play comes to her, sees her, kisses her on the head, and then she rises like Christ back from the dead. And the last word of the play, guess it. It's daddy. No. It's dad. The last word of the play is dad. It's not daddy. It's dad. But again, everything comes back to daddy issues. Confirmed. Daddy issues revolve around everything. Remember how ages ago we had Jerry Traynor in the audience of one of the school's plays? Well, this time, it was Mr. Josh Peck. And he comes up to Jade at the end and congratulates her on the play. He says she had a great play, and honestly, she couldn't have cared less. Girl boss. She's like, I don't care who you are. I knew it was great. Well, she didn't say it, but that's what she's thinking. I know her so well. Hee. I really like it though when shows do these like small guest cameos, especially when it's like from their little universe. I think it's quite cool. Sometimes I think those kind of things might be controversial, but I think they're sometimes more fun than when a actor guest stars in like half an episode. Although I wish in these cameos they would have had them acting as their characters in the in-universe shows. That would have been even better. The daddy issue saga is not over though. It continues and it develops. Jade's dad comes up to Jade and says that he thinks the play was excellent, and now coming from a girly with her own daddy issues, maybe this is the daddy issues speaking, like maybe I'm on another side of it, but screw that. Screw needing your dad's approval, okay? Screw it. No, not having it. No one needs their dad's validations, okay? You don't need his validation. You were doing great on your own. You don't need your dad's validation for that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Her play was great without his validation. That's that. It didn't need his validation. I know it was nice for her to hear, but it was still great. Oh, you know, what's that sound? What's this? What's that sound? Oh, it's the gays screaming. It's the LGBTQ plus community screaming. I'm so sorry if I forgot a letter. I'm not an awful person, I just don't know anymore. Jade finally hugs Tori. They finally hug. I'm going to award Jade for this moment. She's getting a bop of a card. I called it enemies to huggers, okay? Very iconic, and it's on brand for what's happening right here, right now. This is history in the making. This next episode is such a core memory. It's episode 17. It's probably a core memory for a lot of y'all too. Y'all. It's survival of the hottest. Now, I would red flag Rex for his comment, a very unnecessary comment about Tori's hotness, but it kind of falls under the general harassing of women we gave him in episode 1, so I'm gonna leave it there. It's like, leave women alone. Tori was just mentioning how hot she was in general. You did not need to comment on her appearance. Thank you. Like, I swear in this show, nearly everything Rex says is harassment. Here we learn, though, a fun fact about Jade, and that is she never sweats. I don't know if that's healthy. I used to be able to relate. I can't anymore. When I was younger, it was very rare for me to sweat. I'm kind of glad I'm over that. It never really affected me, but you know what? I enjoy the breeze on my forehead when it's sweating. Sadly, though, this is actually a very tragic moment in this season. This is the first time we're going to give Andre a flop. The flop is called Kiddie Pool, and it's because in this episode, it's boiling hot, hence the title being Survival of the Hottest, and he exploits the kids in Hollywood arts by charging them like for $5 for 5 minutes in the kiddie pool, and it's not even a big pool. So this is one and only flop of the season. So you know what, for that, in this kiddie pool, St. John almost dies, and the only one that cares is Tori. She's the only one that notices that he's lying face down, and it's like for a little too long for it to be natural or normal. None of the group is phased, very disrespectful. She's the only one that cares, and she runs over to save him. For that, she gets a bop. Saving St. John is her card. Thank you, thank you. Due to how hot it is, the whole gang head off to the beach. And I mean, it's not on a school day. They head over like the next day because they're not rebels like that. But they head off in Beck's trailer thing. And as soon as they park, Kat has to immediately pee. So she's off. She's gone. She's gone to pee. She's sprinting like it's the Olympics to go pee. Everyone meets inside the trailer. By everyone, I mean Jade and Beck just join everyone in the trailer after Kat's gone out to pee. And the door's not budging. It's not opening. They're stuck. And they're stuck because someone has decided to park their, like, big RV trailer right next to Beck's door, so no one can get it open. It won't swing open. It won't let them out. Even worse, though, the windows don't open because they're made out of bulletproof glass. So there's no aircon, and they're stuck. But guess what? They have a hope. Kat. They're like, oh, she'll be back soon. She went to pee. She's going to be back soon. Well, no. Take away that security. A girlie is distracted by some hot guys, and she's not coming back anytime soon. Sadly, though, we're gonna give Kat a flop card for this. It's like one of her first cards in a while. This card is Bros Before Hoes, and I just don't think it was the best look for Kat, if I'm being honest. She just ditches her friends for these guys, and she's gone for a solid amount of time at this point. Now, this sounds dodgy. Again, are we surprised? It's Nickelodeon. Kat's with 4 guys, and they spray her. It's with water guns, but it's like all of them just start spraying her with it, and she's just standing there in the middle. She shouts, it's so cold, and then we cut to Tori saying it's so hot. Cinema. Absolute cinema. But Tori does remember one thing. She remembers she packed a fan in her bag, and now this gets the whole gang riled up. They're like, oh my god, a fan, oh my god, we're gonna have air, we can breathe. When she reveals it to the group, though, They're all like, oh, that's disappointing. It's so tiny. The disrespect is potent. Like, be grateful someone at least packed a fan. At least you have some sort of airflow. Like, they're all a dick about the reveal. It also sounds like I'm talking about like a dick reveal. Like, they're like, oh, it's so small. I don't know what they expected though when they said that her portable fan was so small, because I mean, who's got like a large normal sized portable fan? They don't exist. It's portable for a reason, because it's tiny. Cut back to Kat though, having the time of her life. She's out here, snow cone in hand, saying it's cold, having a dance party. She's living it up whilst the others are fighting for their life. She's also making pottery. How long was she gone? The pottery bit, I think, was a reference though to a movie called Ghost. Like, your parents probably know it if you're a lot older. If you're older watching this, you might know what the movie Ghost is. You might be a fan of the movie, or your parents might be, so I could be wrong, but I think it's a reference to that. When Tori's portable fan though stops working, Robbie has a full-on meltdown about it. Like, he's screaming, shaking, crying, tearing up those walls because that fan stopped. Jade also goes a bit unhinged. She spots the fish in the tank and suggests they drink the water. And then Beck then admits that he's never cleaned it, because I think Trina or someone asks him, like, but is it clean? And he's like, you're supposed to clean it? Those poor fish. Those poor things. They've been in such dirty water. Gosh. In this RV though, Trina, being the suspicious girly she is, she's got her head in her bag. I guess it's weird. She's just full on head in her bag, just chilling, just girly things, having hobbies. Tori doesn't believe her excuse one bit at all for having her head in the bag. And they fight. I mean, I'm surprised they had the energy to fight, to be honest. I wouldn't if I'm that warm. For this though, we're going to give Trina a red flag. Because, gatekeeping water, not good. Especially not when everyone else is dying. Like, she guzzled the whole bottle up. Because that is just not on, my girlie. Because Trina's guzzled the whole bottle of water, all they have left is, like, a tiny capful. Like, this blue bit here, that's all they've got left. The rest of them have to share it between themselves. They pour it all out into the cap of the cup. The whole point is that they're only allowed one tongue dip each. Super spreader alert, am I right? They're going to start their own pandemic in this RV. Tori goes first, then Andre, and then Robbie. Except Robbie doesn't follow the rules. He takes the rest of the water for himself. It wasn't a lot. Still though, red card. Red card to Robbie. His next card is water scandal. I think it's his last card too. That's it for Robbie. Another tragedy strikes. This episode is basically all of the characters' breaking points. Jade feels something dripping on her head, and or just dripping on her in general. Turns out a girlie is sweating for the first time in her life. There's a first for everything. And I feel sorry for her, She's very vulnerable in this moment. Like, Jade's just not having a good time. I don't think I've really seen her that messed up in a while. Like, yes, she has daddy issues, but this was a different kind of mess. But she redeems herself because Tori one-ups her and embarrasses herself even further. Jade, because of her sweating, says, like, we have to get out of here. Like, this is enough for her now. She can't handle it anymore. And Tori says, thank you, Catherine Obvious. Everyone in the RV is shaming her for it, Jade included. They're all saying, like, you're such a dumb pooter. Is Captain Obvious not Catherine? As Beck says, who would Catherine be? He's never said anything more true in his life. And whilst that moment stunk for Tori, I also know that the RV stank. Like, it was musty up in that RV with all of them and their sweat building up in that room. It was definitely musty up in there, and it definitely doesn't help when Robbie decides to drink the fish water, and then that results in him throwing up in Trina's bag. So not only did they have the BO of that room, they now have Robbie's insides. They have the smell. They have his bile, his throw up. It's just not good. I'm glad I'm not in that room. Andre, though, I love him so much. He recalls some advice that his grandma gave him. You know what? She pulled through for once. And she told him that no matter how bad things get, they can get better if you just sing a song. Of course, Tori being Tori, you know what song she starts to sing? Make It Shine. I mean, in her defense, it is a bop, and everyone in the RV knows it word for word, because it is a bop. It's a certified bop. It's gone platinum. Confirmed. Don't check for a source. That song could cure me from any disease, I believe. Kat finally shows up, though. She's back from her little, escape with the boys. And freedom, fresh air. God knows they needed it. Bit of a funny thing though when Kat arrives is that they realise the RV that was parked next to them is gone. And I want to know how long it was gone for, because those dumb pooches were stinking up that room when they could have just left probably 20-30 minutes ago. I wonder how much earlier they could have left. That brings us to a close though of episode 17. Now on to episode 18, Wi-Fi in the Sky. Tori and Trina are headed on a plane to LA. LAX with a dream in my cardigan. Behind Trina, there's an extremely annoying child who keeps kicking her chair. The dad is utterly useless as he does the bare minimum to parent his child. He doesn't want to do a thing. Child has the audacity to call Trina a witch. And the dad does nothing. I'd be fuming. I hate it when parents can't be bothered to parent their own children. Andre makes an adorable dad joke because Tori says that she's on the plane, and he jokes she should be in the plane, not on the plane. And I love that so much for him. He's so adorable. My favourite, honestly. And it shows. Plot of the episode though, the main plot here is Tori, Andre, Beck and Kat have an assignment due for the next day, but as Tori won't be landing until after 11 p.m, they have no time to meet up to make this assignment together. Therefore, they decide to finish it together on a video call on the plane. Now, I don't want to be one of those realistic people, but come on, plane Wi-Fi is not that good. I doubt you're able to make a phone call, let alone FaceTime someone. No way you can be FaceTiming with that high quality. Now, Tori's gonna get a red flag for this moment. It's kind of criminal that she's on the plane without her headphones in. She's just kind of being a public nuisance here. She's got her friends' voices yapping out of her laptop speakers, and she doesn't even have her headphones in. She's just screaming, her friends are screaming. It's a mess. I would not be the happiest if I heard that on the plane. Put your headphones in. Silence, please. Red card for Tori. Trina here, this is one of her most reasonable moments. She's had enough of this child and she decides, I'ma deck him. And we're gonna award her for this. Yes, again, I condone violence when it's necessary. Trina is getting a point for decking a child. Don't give me crap for this. I might be getting delirious at this point. We are on to hour 5 of this Victorious recap. This is also page 40 of this 50-page script. Bear with me. In this episode, we also have a callback to episode 8, which is the Roborazzi episode, as Tori's browser is open also on the Sky Store, so it's also a reference to Kat and her obsession with the Sky Store. I love that. I love those little details. Robbie and Rex call into the group chat. They kind of want couples counselling as the whole thing. They're not involved in the assignment. They just kind of want to be involved for no reason other than the fact that they just want to be there. No one's having it, and they are booted from the chat. Kind of embarrassing, kind of flop. Bless her heart again though, Kat is such a moment. She is such a relatable icon. During their little video call, Kat kind of plays around with the filters on her laptop. And twinsies. And you know what? Good for her. She was having the time of her life. They get another request on their video call. This time it's not from Robbie, it's from someone with the name Scissor Love. I don't know what they want me to make out of that username. I know it's a thing that Jade loves scissors, but still, Scissor Love. My mind goes straight to sorry, not sorry. Yours probably did too. Anyways, Jade is extremely mad and possessive of Beck. She's mad at him and she's also possessive of him. What's new? But she's annoyed because he hasn't replied to her voicemail and that he's looking after the cheerleader's neighbour's dog. Jade not only has daddy issues, she clearly has trust issues. She doesn't really trust Beck. She doesn't let him explain either. She cuts off the call before he can explain. And not that he should have to explain. He's just doing a nice thing. So, red flag for Jade for trust issues. It's just not a good look. After seeing how much fun though that Kat's having with her little visual effects on her video during the video call, Beck and Andre join in. I love their energy. It's such a moment. That's such a friendship group moment. It's so adorable. But I also feel bad for Tori because she's getting stressed, obviously, because their assignment's due the next day and they're all goofing around. And it makes her look like the bad guy for being upset at them. But it is annoying to be that one person in the group trying to hold everything together and get everything done, so I feel her pain. She does, though, continue to blast her laptop speakers, and that's, really flop behaviour. That's not nice. Be considerate of the others around you, please. Trina also goes up to square against the boy for a second round of boxing after he kicks her in the chair again. And I just know the passengers in that plane hated that back seat, those back rows, because it was the back 2 rows that were causing all this commotion. Another red flag for Tori, though, is that she does make Kat cry, kind of again. Sadly, it's becoming a trope for Tori to make Kat cry, But it's because she like has a go at her for using the video effects, and as I said, I kind of get where she's coming from, but also could have handled it better. On this video call, the boys get a jump scare of Trina's ass in front of their camera as she passes by to go to the toilet. Was about to say though, it's nice for once for women not to be commented on in a sexual way in regards to their looks or anything. Like the guy should be, oh, like, you know, you would at seeing someone's ass. But no, this sweet bliss lasts for only 2 seconds as they have that little 5-year-old boy behind her comment on Trina's looks. He says Trina's hot, but Tori's hotter. Tori pushes him away with her full palm in his face, and I respect it. I don't have the energy for this, but I respect it, and I love that she does that, and she should have pushed him harder. Moving on. Bang, bang, bang. Open up. Guess who's at the door? It's Jade. Jade's now sitting in Beck's RV, and she's just waiting for this cheerleader to show up to come collect her dog. While she's there though, Robbie calls the group again, and he's under the name Little Steven21 because the group knew of his other like username and they weren't letting him in. He was being blocked. My guy, kind of embarrassing, like take the L, move on. This era of TV though was also a little bit interesting because everyone seemed to want a bit of Perez Hilton. Why, I couldn't tell you, because like what did he have to offer? I don't know. He was kind of a musty dusty crusty, still is musty dusty crusty. In this same era of TV, he was also a guest in Glee. But Trina runs back from the toilet and she's like all gassed about something because she's like, oh, I just stole Perez Hilton's camera. And I can't remember who Trina says this to, but someone says to her, what happened to having talent? And Trina replies with, talent has nothing to do with being famous. Truer words have never been spoken, bestie. Especially today, like there's so many people who are famous for doing nothing. Cough, cough, the Kardashians. I can't be asked to cough, my throat hurts from talking this long. Another unwanted call comes into their group chat. It's not Robbie, it's St. John this time, and he does a nice little job of mansplaining to Tori when she was clearly making a joke, and he's currently at Jade's home, like he just broke in. It's very creepy behaviour. Again, more disaster strikes though. Andre's grandma breaks his computer because she's so freaked out from seeing people like in his laptop. She thinks something's going wrong, so she punches it and it smashes. Another interruption happens. God, it was interruption after interruption in this episode. It's a miracle they even started this group project, but Ali, who is Beck's neighbour, the cheerleader, comes to pick up her puppy. Jade realises she was being a dumb pooter all along, as turns out this child is like 9. Embarrassing, girly, embarrassing. Like, you were jealous of a 9-year-old, that's so embarrassing. Like, if only she let Beck tell her over the phone call she was 9, would have saved her a whole trip. Despite being proved wrong, Jade still won't apologise for any of this, and I've never seen a couple need more couples like counselling than these two. Throw back to a couple minutes ago when I said Perez Hilton's camera was stolen by Trina. Perez Hilton makes an appearance. I wasn't sure if he was actually going to show up in this episode. Sadly, he does. Boo. Boo this man. Boo, he's so nasty-spirited. He's a nasty-spirited man. Trina fights him though, and I finally get the sense of delight, bliss, happiness after seeing that man's face on TV, and point to Trina. She gets a point for WWE slamming Perez Hilton. It's like my favourite point that I got to give to a character on this show. Trina's points were so fun. And I swear I don't normally condone violence, only when it's deserved though, and in this instance it was. This now brings us on to the final 2 episodes of Victorious Season 1. Some of you may say that this is just one episode because it's a 2-parter, but it's the freak out. I love these episodes. They're such a core memory for me. There was definitely a cultural shift when these episodes aired. The episode starts strong. There's a rare appearance from the one, the only, David Vega. Woo! Someone's being a parent. Oh my god! He's doing the bare minimum. He shows up. What else should we expect? One of David's many personality traits in this show, though, is being a cop, and he will never let you forget that. He mentions it right off the bat in this episode. Let us breathe, sir. In this episode, Trina, where is she? Trina picks up Tori's phone. Turns out Tori was scheduled to have a date, but Trina's like, not happening on my watch. She kind of reschedules it so that Trina can have the Tori's date. This then ensues on them getting into one of their last fights of the season. David breaks up the fight just so that he can remind us again that he's a cop. But alas, just when you think he started to parent, he's like, nope, not gonna do that. And he announces Trina's getting her wisdom teeth removed. And Tori's like, haha, funny, joke's on you. But then David's like, not on my watch. You kids, parent each other. Because me and your mum, me and Holly, we're off on holiday. You two can look after each other. Tori, you can look after Trina after her wisdom teeth are removed. My God, those parents did nothing in this show. They could not look after their kids for shit. They did the bare minimum. It was embarrassing. It was flop behaviour. So far though, throughout this entire season, the Victorious intro has stayed the same, except for this one episode. It changes, and they said plot twist. They throw in the bridge of the song during the opening credits and new scenes. What was that noise? We're so far into this. That's how you know that this is a special episode, when they're like throwing the bridge of a song in and some extra scenes. Back to the Black Box Theatre though. Kat lets the class know Jade and herself are going to karaoke dokie. New set alert. Jade again though shows signs of an extremely controlling relationship issues. I love her, but it's bad. It's like really bad. This results in Psychowitz calling Jade a gank, which in-universe swearing. Okay, gank is an in-universe swear word, I'm convinced. Back at the Vega residence, Trina's had her wisdom teeth removed, and this episode made me so scared about getting my wisdom teeth removed. I still haven't got them taken out, and I'm probably scheduled to do that soon, but I feel like it was so dramatic looking back. The blood, the way Trina acted, everything about it was so scary. Quiz time! What's Rex's favourite song? If you didn't say Forever Baby, then you're wrong, because it's Forever Baby. If not, you're a fake fan. I don't make the rules. At Karaoke Dokie, we get some more issues with Beck and Jade. Surprise, surprise, but this time it's warranted. A girl there hits on Beck pretty hard. Beck only pushes her off, but he never once mentions he has a girlfriend. Like, it's up to Kat to mention that he has a girlfriend. She's the only one that speaks up to say, like, oh, miss, he has a girlfriend. Beck never once offers the information. Like, sure, he's uncomfortable by it, but he never once mentions, I have a girlfriend, like, back off. And then, lights, camera, action. Jade is there. Bam. She's like, turn around. And it's iconic. The gay in me jumped. If I was Miss Girly hitting on Beck, and I turned around to see Jade, I would be quaking, and I would also be questioning who I was meant to hit on, because I would switch up so quick. But the disrespect is potent, because when Jade says, now you see her, as in reference to herself, the girly goes, I don't see much. Violence. Shots were made. That she obliterated Jade with that sentence. It was so rude. I was not having it. Like, how dare you say that to her? Everything continues to get heated though, like tensions are building, tensions are rising, and Andre tries to diffuse the tension with little to no success, and my camera's dying. The Vega sisters though aren't doing well. Tori is not handling Trina's medical situation very well with the whole wisdom teeth removal, and some of you may come for Tori's neck for the way she handles this situation. I argue you should channel that energy into shaming these two individuals, David Vega and Holly Vega, because they are some absent parents that never show up to look after their kids. They should not be leaving Tori with the responsibility to look after her sister after she's had an operation, like a surgery to do with her wisdom teeth. She's not the one to blame here, and I will never take it as she is the one to blame. Back at Karaoke Dokie though, the menaces Hayley and Tara, who are the ones that were like hitting on Beck, they're up on stage, and my God, their performance is the flop of the century. Hello, is everybody watching? Before you get the party started. This song is by their in-universe singer, pop star Ginger Fox, who, if you don't know, is Nickelodeon's version of Britney Spears. It's a very disrespectful like parody of her, especially knowing everything she's been through. Very distasteful. Regardless, we have seen Ginger Fox in a previous episode of iCarly, so I like how it ties in. Whilst Hayley and Tara's performance is gobsmackingly awful, I can also relate. Like, those two, they sound like me. I feel heard, I feel seen. Sadly. I wish I could sing. I can't. I'm not delusional. Point Jade, though, again now for the iconic line, we are clapping because it's over. It's stuck in my mind since the day I heard it. I just think it sounds so good. I love whoever wrote that line. Moment. It was a moment. Cinematic history. The world shifted, because next up on stage were Kat and Jade singing Give It Up. Point to both of them for this performance. It's too great. It's too good. Point to Kat for Give It Up. Point to Jade for Give It Up. This performance is too good. If you weren't already questioning your sexuality, you definitely were now. I definitely was. This performance was powerful. It was too good. It made me move. And apparently this performance was sung live. Like, it makes it that much better that they were singing this live on their takes. The talent. It sounds so good. I play this still so regularly, and it's also one of those songs from Victorious that I think can stand the test of time, and it's more of like an actual pop song rather than like a kids show pop song, if you know what I mean. The extras are bopping, clapping their hands. I mean, the DJ has tears of joy that he's finally hearing two people that can sing up on his stage. I'm sent into orbit because I can't stay still anymore. Like, hey, I slayed that. The runs in this song were impeccable. Masterfully crafted. It was a masterclass in singing this episode, no joke, especially because it was done live. Argue with the wall. This was all a competition, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, but you guys, if you made it this far, you're definitely a fan of Victorious. And it's announced that the winner of this singing competition at Karaoke Dokie of all two teams were Hayley and Tara. Woo! The crowd is silent. Rex calls them out along with Beck and Andre. And everyone is so baffled. They're like, this is definitely not right. Fix. All of this makes sense though when we realise that the owner of Karaoke Dokie is none other than Hayley's dad. Nepotism. She's a nepo baby. Okay, now we're on to part 2 of the Freak the Freak Out episode. To you guys, this might be a whole big episode, so you know what? Whatever. This one starts straight with the opening credits. There's no like intro scene or first scene, it just starts straight with opening credits. Here I am, once again. It's never made so much sense until this point. Like, my whole life's been building up to this moment because here we are once again. A dishevelled Tori appears on the couch in her front room, and awaiting her at the door is Beck, Andre, and Robbie. They are some thoughtful legends, and they bring the girls frozen yogurt, which I think is adorable. I'm gonna take a guess and say it was probably Andre's idea, because I know he has that pure heart. We learn, though, that along the way, Robbie was robbed by some Northridge girls. Does it really add anything to the story? No. Speaking of Northridge girls, St. John creepily touches himself like over his man boobies as he's staring at these girls from Northridge. Like, please take 3,000 steps back. It's so weird. There's also more arrivals at the Vega residence though, and this time it's Jade and Kat. They've also bought frozen yogurt. Honestly, this show, any Nickelodeon show, was kind of like a promo, an ad for frozen yogurt. They made me want frozen yogurt. We don't really have it in the UK. In this instance, though, whilst in the house, in the Vega residence, Jade sneaks over to Beck's coat, puts her fingers in his pockets, and steals his car keys. The audience, ooh, they know drama is a-stirring. They give Tori the rundown of the events over at Karaoke Dokie and how Hayley's dad fixed the event to make his daughter win. None of the girlies are having it. They're like, we need to do something. Inside the house, just 3 feet away though, Trina attempts to eliminate Robbie, and I'm not quite sure why having her wisdom teeth taken out turned her into such a violent person, but okay. I mean, I guess she was before anyway. I still say girl boss though. I don't know why her violence I really condone, but I just do. I just think she attacked the right people half the time. And you know what? She was onto something, because if the man that had kissed me without consent showed up to me after I just had an operation and like come to see the light of day, I'd be mad too. Like, attack him, girl boss, girl slay. At Karaoke Dokie, Hayley and Tara continue to abuse the ears of every single audience member, but Kat and Jade are here with a plan this time. Not a foolproof plan, but a plan nonetheless. They challenge Hayley and Tara to pick anyone in the crowd to challenge to a sing-off. But except they've plotted Tori in there. This is their whole plan. And their whole plan is that they're definitely going to choose Tori. If they chose anyone but Tori though, their plan may not have gone their way like at all. Because there were 20 other people like in this venue. What would they have done then? Despite all this though, Hayley and Tara's eyes fall on a girl that looks just like Tori but in a disguise. Like, she's eerily similar, and turns out it is Tori. Basically, this episode says, ugly, awkward people can't sing. Uglies don't deserve rights. Because even though Jade and Kat wanted Hayley and Tara to choose Tori, she's in a disguise this whole time, and they say, when they pick Tori, oh, like, choose someone that has a choice. They literally said uglies can't sing. Like, uglies have no choice. Oh god, it's hard for us out here. It's so bad of them to do that, because what do you mean? Like, just because someone's not conventionally pretty doesn't mean they can't sing or they can't have talents. It's so messed up, like a weird message to send. Anyway though, the stakes are, if Kat and Jade lose, Hayley can make out with Beck. His consent is not present, may I add. MIA, nowhere to be seen. A little criminal if you ask me. But if Jade and Kat win, then Hayley and Tara have to babysit a girl they know, Trina. Up on stage, Tori is disguised as Louise Nordhoff, and Louise Nordhoff gets ready to perform as she awkwardly fidgets around. She's really selling this whole awkward, ugly girl thing. Again, with the pretty privilege, it's not a good message, I don't think. Uglies have no rights. I mean, it's so, sad to see, because even the, host of the event, the DJ guy, talks down to Louise because she's not conventionally pretty. It's very obvious that's why he's talking down to her. He's like, do you really think you can sing this? Back off! He totally views her as daft and incapable of making her own choices because she looks like that. And it's just wrong. Now this song though, Freak the Freak Out, it needs to be marked down in history in the New Testament. It's such a bop. Not in your head, don't hear a word I said. I can't communicate. Trying to talk to you, but never even. So what you gonna do? Tell me, can you hear me? I don't condone their hate against the uglies, but this transformation was very iconic. It was one for the books, and it was handled so well, slay. When she took off this disguise, she had that audience shook. They were like, oh, she's pretty. She's conventionally pretty. This all makes sense now. Point to Tori for Freak the Freak Out. Tori's up there shaking her business, stomping her feet up on that table. I hope the staff wipe them clean after, because she was really smacking it down on this table. If they don't wipe it down, they're definitely going to get some health and hygiene departments rolling up to that place, because it's bad. I honestly think some of these extras reached peak happiness during this Freak the Freak Out performance, and I can't blame them. Same, bestie. All of the answers to their world problems were here at Karaoke Dokie. The venue is shaking though, tables are broken, and Tori and Jade's friendship is developing. I'd say it's never been better. The performance comes to an end, and then they decide that the audience will choose the winner through applause. Mr. Daddy announces Hayley and Tara. Audience is silent. Embarrassingly, Hayley and Tara clap for themselves along with the DJ, but he's got a job to keep. Can't really blame him. Of course the place goes crazy though for Louise. Can't really remember at this point in time. And who would have guessed it? She won. Who would have guessed after Freak the Freak Out that she would win it? After her big win, Tori returns home to relieve the boys of their position of looking after Trina. That's because Hayley and Tara obviously lost the bet, and now they have to babysit this girl. I somewhat feel bad for Trina though, that she's having these random ass strangers look after her little surgery. But it's also not Tori's responsibility, and the parents should have been there to look after their child. We don't know how long time has passed, but minutes to hours later, the house is a mess. It looks like a bomb exploded. This whole thing is me discovering Trina as an icon, but let's just say she's an icon again for making this job the most impossible task Hayley and Tara have probably ever had to do. They deserve a hard time. They were so rude and unnecessarily mean, and they were hitting on Beck, and it was so wrong of them. They were just nasty-spirited. Speaking of these two criminals though, David and Holly, they return home, only for them to then decide that when they walk in, it's too messy, it's too much, and David says to Holly, stay in the car, we're going away. He doesn't, as a police officer, he's not concerned that there's two strangers in his house, no. Or that the house is completely ransacked, no. Useless, utterly useless. It's too much for him to care about as a parent, his children. God forbid he cares about his children. Selfish bastard. So Trina has to fend for herself. And that leaves these two for the end of the season. Just, again, gone, not in their kids' lives. The clock is ticking though, and the final episode of this season is coming to a close with a performance by Sikowitz, which feels like kind of a random performance to have. So Sikowitz is at Karaoke Dokie, he's doing a performance, he's sat on a chair, and he pulls this lever and then a bunch of rain falls on him, and it's quite the moment, really. I think it's definitely a reference to a movie. What movie that is, I couldn't tell you. Your parents probably could. But we do end this season on a win, because this is the first and only time Sikowitz is wearing shoes. His feet are covered. We won, besties. We finally win, and it only took the whole season for us to win, but he's got shoes on for once. Also, not only is he wearing shoes, he's wearing my favourite pair of shoes, Converse. So I really, truly won after all of this. Anyway though, this now brings us to the end of my season 1 recap of Victorious. This was very fun. Thank you if you watched all the way. I can't believe some of you may have done that. If you have, comment down below, I don't know, your favourite episode or something. I don't know. Comment hee hee ha ha. Nah! Anyway, thank you so much. I feel like I'm doing an award speech, but this has been a long time in the making. I sat down for like a couple weeks writing this script. It was a 50-page script, and I'd obviously sit down and watch every single episode of season 1 of Victorious. It's really been a while. I've had to film this over like 2 or 3 days, and I've had the greatest time. We will wrap up this little recap. The one with the most reds is clearly Robbie. Not done well at all. Like, it's looking bad for you, my guy. Like, that's just not good. Beck's barely got any cards because, I mean, his card stopped in episode 5. And that's because he doesn't really give us much. Tori's is a mixed bag, along with Jade's. And then Trina's actually got way more positive ones than I thought she would. Andre, however, though, icon. He's only got one questionable moment, but that was more because I was looking for something that needed to be questionable, because he didn't really have anything other than that. And also that did rub me the wrong way, that he was like exploiting people during this like heat wave at school. But regardless, yeah, this is very interesting to look at, because Tori, I guess I expected her to be controversial, but a little bit more than I thought. This was so interesting to do. I will definitely do this again for season 2 if you want this. Really hope you guys look forward to it as much as I do. Sorry if it takes a long time to come out. This took quite a while as is, and I'm a one-person team who's also juggling other things on the side. So anyway, have a lovely rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining me. And I can't believe this is over. Okay, bye. Love you all.